Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everyone, to episode 370 of the Thumbstick Athletes podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
I'm Will.
Corey.
And joining us, I was just going to say, and joining us is Tito, a longtime listener. You've been on a couple episodes too, right, Tito?
I think one episode.
One episode? Okay. He's joining us to be our expert because our topic today is going to be Monster Hunter World. Tito put a ton of hours into it. I played briefly with Tito together online a couple days ago, I think. But me and Corey were only able to get a handful of hours in, and Tito put quite a few hours in the PS4 version, right?
200.
200 hours on the PS4, and then
Nice.
some PC time. So I'll be interested to hear your comparisons between the two.
For sure.
So that's going to be our main topic. Anyone have anything they want to tease for later on in the episode? Nothing new?
Oh,
Nope.
you know what? I don't know if I'll make it this long, but if we get into what we played, I was able to try PlayStation VR for the first time, finally. And I got to play Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes in VR,
Nice.
which was pretty fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Will, anything?
Not really. I got a ton of nibbly bits, but
Nice.
that's about it.
All right. Tito, anything?
I've been playing a lot of Nino Kuni 2. Nice.
Okay.
Oh,
Love
You know,
that game.
Kuni too. I actually played a mobile game. I played Reigns, which I've talked about a couple weeks ago. I'll talk about why during Nibble Bits, but I really enjoyed that so far. So I'll talk briefly about that. It's a mobile game, but it's on kind of everything, I think, at this point. So, all right, well, let's get into Monster Hunter. So Tito, Monster Hunter came out last year, right, for PS4 and Xbox One, or was it early this year?
It was earlier this year. I think it was around like February. if
Was
I'm
it
not
really?
mistaken.
Yeah.
I thought it was. Why did I think it was a fall release last year? Maybe because I was so excited for it.
It's been a while because
Yeah.
everyone was waiting for the PC.
Okay.
PC version.
Yeah, it sold like hotcakes too, and is one of Steam's top selling games right now, top played games right now. So that's cool to see. So yeah, let's. I'll start with you, Tito, because you're the expert. What do you think of Monster Hunter World so far?
Well, overall, I would say, and it just a little side note is most of my time is through the PS4
Mhm.
version of the game. I just thought I should bring that up, but I would say right now it's my lead for game of the year,
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
and I have a couple of reasons why, which I'll get into eventually. But
Nice.
it's excellent. It's just a lot of fun. It's just a great game, and it's cool because back when it came out originally, back in January or February, it was a lot of new people coming into this series,
Yeah.
and just finding out about this gem, like, oh, it's been here the entire time, and now we're getting into it. And there's just, I think Corey said it best a while back. I remember it really is its own industry at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
Wow, I used to be smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, while me and Corey didn't necessarily play Monster Hunter World a lot, we both played a lot of Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. I played a little bit of Monster Hunter 3 also, so we were at least familiar with how the game works. And one thing Corey talked about, I don't think you said it on the episode, but I might have mentioned it. One of the things that was good for us having experience with the series before is we kind of knew what to do. Because the game, even though this one is one of the more accessible ones, it's still throws a lot at you, and stuff is not necessarily easy to find. I don't think. I mean, Tito, you were new to the series, so I mean, how'd you feel when you first started the game? Like how it throws everything at you, and stuff's kind of hard to find, and crafting, and like how'd you do getting all that sorted?
Well, I'm the kind of player that if I get into a game, I'll do all the YouTube videos of like finding all the little bits and details of it. And it was actually kind of fun that they don't tell you these things, and especially when you discover these things and you're like, oh, I can see how that can be really helpful.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, it's just small little discoveries that just make you appreciate the game even more, in terms of like, wow, there's this stuff too. Like, I'm so used to these games that, and I'll kind of do a little comparison about it, but like a game like Destiny, where it just feels very a bit more simple.
Mhm.
to the complexity of Monster Hunter World, but you learn that this game is very well thought out.
Yeah.
That's the impression I got. It's like very well thought out. Where you run into a lot of problems that you have to go through with other gamers complaining about it on Reddit or whatever. It's like, how did they not run into these issues? Whereas it seems like Capcom, they've been doing it for so long, and they know how to make Monster Hunter World, or they know how to make the Monster Hunter series at least.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. It was fun, kind of discovering all the little details and how everything works.
Yeah.
I find myself feeling a little bit like a hack when I play these games, because the people who have been with the series since the start are like, oh my gosh, you guys have no idea what it used to be like and how easy things are to do now. And I'm still like, easy? Like, this is still very difficult for me. There's a lot going on. I have to do like 10 different things before I can achieve the one thing I want to achieve. But I mean, I like that part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, the preparation alone going into each battle, and not necessarily at the beginning, but as you get later on in the game, like that stuff alone, like it needs its own, like Tito said, like YouTube guides and guides and stuff. If you're not familiar with how to do all that stuff, there's a lot there, a lot of prep that goes into. I read a funny Steam review actually. It was my time with, I don't think it was Monster Hunter World, but it was one of the other Monster Hunters, and they listed off like 30 things before they even started going into the actual like hunt. This list of 30 things that they did. And I'm like, oh, that's Monster Hunter for you.
Yep.
So, but yeah, let's real quick, Tito. Let's talk about the differences between, if there is any, PS4 and PC version. Are graphically better? Does it run better on one or the other?
Sure. This was a topic I found a little interesting, because they had pointed out when they announced the PC version, which was a lot sooner than people realized, because they were like, it's coming out next week, or like a month from now. But they made a point to mention that they didn't really do anything more for the PC version. It's pretty much the console version just on PC.
Right.
And so a lot of people were upset at that news, because obviously with a more powerful rig, you'd want, better visuals and stuff like that. But I don't know about you, but overall, just playing the PC version, it runs well on my machine. Yep. And I have a pretty old processor. I've updated the GPU a few times. I have an i5 2500K Sandy Bridge.
Oh, okay. So I'm right about where you are. I've got the i7 2600.
Yeah.
Right there.
And
it's pretty old.
Yeah, it's about 5-6 years old at this point. But I mean, I've been able to play most of my games, and I'm the kind of person that I'm not going to update until it starts to run like crap.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much the console version. And what I found interesting is I watched a Digital Foundry YouTube video of doing a comparison, and people have been finding this out about the game. Is not only is it not anything better on the PC version, but it apparently doesn't use a lot of your GPU. It's like very CPU heavy, and because Capcom had to learn how to do this. Like they mentioned like this is kind of new for us, like porting this over to PC, and that's why I feel like so much time it took to get to the PC version to release. And you can kind of see why, because they found when they were doing tests, like some of the options don't do anything.
Yeah. Ultra wide doesn't work. It like they have the option to have the ultra wide resolution, but it's still got the black bars on the side, like the normal 1920 by 1080. So that's perfect example.
They also found that like turning off, like there's one or two settings that if you turn off, you would think you'd get improved performance, but actually degrades performance. Funny enough. So. Wow. Some people are kind of upset about that, and I can kind of see it. But overall, the game runs pretty well. Yeah. There's no like 4K textures or anything, but I'm fine with that. I really just wanted a version of the game that runs at 60 frames per second, which I get. So.
Yeah, me too. And Corey talked about that when I think he was talking to us about it. But yeah, like I even just set the graphics with my NVIDIA. The game thing that sets all the graphic settings for you. I had it set like so it runs smoothly, and it runs great, and it looks great. Like I was very surprised. I might have gotten one or two brief frame rate drops, but it runs super smooth. Like I said, my it doesn't do the ultra wide, which is a little bit frustrating, but maybe eventually.
Are you playing with controller?
Yes, I have not tried the keyboard and mouse with it. I'm a little afraid to. With that type of game, I generally like to use the controller. So
Yeah, I can't see how keyboard and mouse would be more beneficial, and
Yeah.
I feel like most people are just sticking with their controllers
yeah,
for the game. It just seems way more convenient.
and it's seamless. It
Yeah.
just seems like it runs better or flows better that way. Corey, let's hear your thoughts so far on Monster Hunter World.
I love it.
You love it. Me too.
I really do. It's not as addicting as other games, and I think part of that is because a hunt takes so long sometimes that you could do like a half-hour hunt, and then by the time you get back and get all your equipment upgraded and your item box situated and everything organized, you kind of feel like you accomplished quite a bit. So I have an easy time putting it down, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because I tend to gravitate towards games that I'm addicted to, probably because that's what addiction is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, this one's easy to put down. It's very familiar, as you said before, Dan, to Ultimate, right, on the
Yeah,
3DS.
Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Yep.
So it was a little bit like riding a bike, but it's nice to have it in front of me on a big monitor, looking nice, running nice. There are some quality of life improvements. I don't know. I haven't really played enough of it to sort of separate out everything I know about Monster Hunter in this game as opposed to Ultimate.
Yeah.
So I don't have too many specific thoughts to this game.
I've got a couple because I tried the Monster Hunter Generations demo on Switch earlier today.
Okay.
So that's like the old style of the game. So I wanted to have that because I didn't remember much about Monster Hunter 4 other than like that I used the battle horn as my weapon, and I kind of remembered how to use that. But yeah, it's one of the things is the zones. Like when you go into a hunting zone, it's very clearly separated. And you even have to like go and like load when you're switching areas. It's a very small area, then you switch to another, and it's broken up very easily.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Monster Hunter World, everything is together. And like I got lost a couple times. I played with Tito, like I said 2 nights ago, and I got lost when I don't remember what we were fighting, but I could.
It was
not,
a great Jagras.
yeah, great Jagras. That's what it was, and I could not find where he went. It took me like probably 2 or 3 minutes to get caught up. But yeah, everything's together. It looks a lot better, and it feels more natural to have that. But yeah, I definitely got a little confused there.
I like the now that I'm thinking about the addition of the scout flies. I don't think that was
that's a new thing. And actually,
Yeah.
there's a mod to turn that off because longtime monster hunters don't care for the easy mode of the scout flies.
There you go.
But I like them too because they kind of highlight stuff on the map, and yeah, they go to like footprints that you might not necessarily have seen.
Yeah.
In your wanderings.
Yeah.
I like that too.
It's just a clever way to have the quest trail, or what is it normally called?
Yeah, like a quest trail.
Quest marker or whatever.
Yeah.
So
feels more natural.
Tito, I know you're gonna try a variety of the different weapons. You wanna talk about that a little bit? What did you start with first of all when you first?
So when I first started Monster Hunter World, I gravitated toward the insect glaive, and that weapon is really cool. So there's 14 weapons overall, and I think the coolest thing with Monster Hunter is that there's a lot of depth to each weapon. It's not just a simple like here's what all you need to know and there you go. There's always like a few like 1 or 2 things that layers to each weapon that if you're not using, you can still be dealing damage, but not the most efficient way or not the most damage that you could be doing. So learning like the complexities of each weapon. So I'll just go over like the 14 different ones, or at least what they're labeled as. There's the great sword. There's a long sword, sword and shield, the dual blades. Like if you want to be a rogue, you can use dual blades. Hammer, the hunting horn in Monster Hunter, which is what you're using, right?
That's me. Yeah.
Corey, what are you playing with?
I'm using the light bow gun.
Light bow gun. Okay. A gun. essentially. I like
Yes.
I like the idea that you're hunting monsters with a gun. Lance, gun lance, switch axe with the switch axe and the charge blade are probably the most unique things I've seen, like in terms of weapons. So those are a lot of fun to use. Insect glaive, the light bow gun, the heavy bow gun, and then the bow. So I first put in most of my time as insect glaive, and then at some point I switched to the hunting horn on PS4 because anytime a hunting horn user joins someone's quest, everyone like has an orgasm essentially because they're like the most unique. They're the least used weapon in the game. I remember watching YouTube video going over like the percentages of users and which weapons they're using the most, and I think the longsword was the most popular. And around literally 1% were your hunting horn users.
Wow.
Yet anytime they join a quest, everyone loves it because it is such an effective weapon.
Yeah.
But yeah, insect glaive is really fun. I don't know. Do you want me to go into how they work, or?
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm curious specifically about the insect glaive because I've noticed I can upgrade my kinsects, and I never knew what they did until I realized it's attached to the insect glaive. So I've basically been upgrading them for no reason because I haven't used the insect glaive yet. But
yeah. So the interesting thing with the insect glaive is it's the only weapon that lets you jump in the air whenever you want, which is super useful because there's a mechanic called mounting where you can mount a monster and do more damage and eventually knock them down if you do everything right, so that everyone can start hammering away on the monster. And the insect or kinsect, as they're referred to, they just provide that's how you can get an element with your weapon. And there's also like a status effect tied to them. It's a way to do. There's two different types of damage that you can do in the game: blunt damage and sever. And blunt allows you to break different parts of an animal or a monster, I should say. And sever allows you to cut off mainly the tail. I think the tail is the only thing that really is cut off, and it's in the game where the tail will actually fall off, and that's an extra part that you can carve. So what's cool is kinsects have different, while the insect glaive part, the little, I don't even know how to describe it, the harpoon type thing, or spear type thing, is mainly just sever. The kinsect can either be a blunt type of kinsect or a sever type of insect, and you can actually cut off a tail by shooting your kinsect at the monster if you're aiming it right, depending on what kind of damage it does.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot. Once you know all the little ins and outs of your weapon, it's not anything overwhelming. The ones I've stayed away from are the light heavy bow gun and the bow and arrow, just because there's ammo that you have to consider with them, and that's just, I never got into that stuff. It's a bit much for me. Generally, you kind of want to focus on, if you're new to the game like I was, just focus on one weapon and master it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't even remember why I picked up the hunting horn as my first weapon. I remember, like, in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, like, there's a part where you could test all the different weapons in, like, a battle. And I did 2 or 3, and I was like, I didn't feel them, and then I did the hunting horn.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you're a battle
hunting
horn
awesome.
user.
That was
It's
awesome.
written on you, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Written on. I could tell. Like, I
Life
was
of the
not
party.
surprised when you told me. I asked you what weapon you're using. You were like battle horn. I was like, yeah, I figured. Yeah.
Yeah, and I talked about this too. But one of when I played Monster Hunter 3 when the Wii U first came out, I just didn't when I first got my Wii U, I didn't get it. And it wasn't until I played Dark Souls that I started to appreciate the slower combat. I was like, how can anyone like this slow a combat? So, like I said, once I played Dark Souls, because it was so much slower than anything I had played before, I got to appreciate the more deliberate attacks and stuff and the planning that's involved with that. I really started to appreciate that much later.
Yeah, that's where the insect glaive can be kind of dangerous, because it's so much faster and mobile than most other weapons. I think the only other weapon that allows you to move pretty quick is the dual blades, but with the insect glaive, you're jumping all over the place and boosting and just launching yourself all over. And some people have mentioned it kind of ruined the game for them in terms of, like, they don't go to any other weapon once they try the insect glaive. Like, if they switch from like a great sword and then they kind of play around with the insect glaive, they're like, oh my god, this is way more, like, not so much fun, but it feels like you can do and react a lot quicker with it, and you're just jumping all over the place. It feels really awesome that they're like everything else feels too slow to go back to.
Yeah.
So,
It was definitely an adjustment to get used to the slow. And the battle horn is not a fast weapon by any stretch.
I love the hunting horn though.
Yeah,
battle horn, hunting horn, the same thing. But I love it because at one point, to make it more popular, they actually buffed the weapon, and it was already great technically because it's essentially a support weapon. But once they buffed it, it was like a legitimate damage dealer too. Because some of the buffs, you're boosting everyone's attack.
Yep.
You know, there's something called earplugs that allow you to withstand a monster's roar, and some of the hunting horns play a melody that gives everyone earplugs, that little boost, so now you can, if you're on a team, like say you're on a squad, they can spec themselves out knowing that, oh, I don't need this armor that provides earplugs because my guy over here is a hunting horn user and he'll be able to give everyone earplugs. It's awesome. It's great. I love it.
Nice. Okay.
Dan, which weapon did you say you're using?
Hunting horn.
Hunting horn.
Yep.
Oh, you are using hunting horn. Okay.
Yep. Yep, that's what I picked up in Monster Hunter 4, and that's what I got used to, and that's
Sticking
what I
with
love. Yeah.
It's a great weapon.
So the reason I chose the light bowgun, I don't know, Tito, you would probably be the only one that may be familiar with Space Dandy, the anime, by the team that did Cowboy Bebop. But anyway, I made my character look like Dandy in Space Dandy. And
is that on Netflix?
I don't think it's on Netflix. It may be on Hulu. I think it's
does sound familiar,
show.
Actually, now that you mention it.
But he has a companion in the show who is a cat named Meow. So I was like, oh, perfect. I can make Dandy and Meow. So that's what I did. And, of course, he has a gun. So I chose the closest thing to an actual gun, which is the light bowgun. But I like it. It's difficult to use because you're constantly running out of ammo and having to reload. And that's slow, and you always get hit. And I find myself, if the monster's knocked down and I run out of ammo, I just run up to it and start meleeing it with my bowgun, which is pretty funny, just whacking it in the face. But it also has this thing called Wyvern Blast, and it's basically like a landmine that you shoot in the ground, and then it does like twice as much damage if they do any damage to it by like swinging their tail or plowing through it or anything. So that's a pretty effective way to do damage. But I don't know, I'm curious about all the other ones. I want to get the bowgun down before I switch to anything else.
Yeah, there's I didn't even get into with the insect glaive since it's been a little while, but you can shoot. The way it works is there's different colored stat boosts that you can get with your insect glaive, and it's mainly color based: red, white, and orange, and technically green as well. And they do different things, and the way you apply them to yourself is like you have to hit different parts of the monster with your Kinsect. And if you hit the head area, that'll give you a red boost, which boosts your attack. If you hit like a limb, that's a white stat boost, which makes you faster. And then the orange one, I think you have to hit them in the back or something, and that keeps you from like stumbling or getting knocked down. And if you get all three at the same time, you go into like Super Saiyan mode, where it boosts all your stats even more, and you move a lot faster, and you actually get new combos for your insect glaive, and you can like literally fly around doing a fan attack as you're like crossing the body of the monster. It's really cool. So it's something to appreciate with Monster Hunter World, where they didn't just make, or at least the Monster Hunter series, they didn't make the weapons just like a simple just hit A and B and you're good. It's like you have to try to work at getting the most efficient damage as possible, and it's not an annoying thing either. It just it adds like a fun mechanic as you're hunting these things.
Yeah, like you said earlier, everything's deliberate in the game, and it's there for a reason. It's there to help you in one way or another. Go ahead,
I was just gonna add that every weapon it's a whole new experience. Adds a lot of variety to the game. Yeah.
I didn't even another cool thing too is there's a certain element, I guess you would called blast, that some of the weapons have, I think for every type of weapon. But the way it works with the insect glaive is you can have your Kinsect flying around just attacking your monster. And each time it hits the monster, it'll leave this like powder in the air. And if you have a blast type Kinsect, anyone can hit that cloud of dust, and it pretty much causes an explosion that can damage the monster. So sometimes I'll just sit in the back, just launching my Kinsect, just getting as many clouds as I can, and then when they come, the monster runs into it. Anyone who attacks in that same general area sets off a chain reaction, and it feels so satisfying. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah,
lot
that
of
must
fun.
be what the Wyvern Blast is for the bowgun then, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the same deal.
Principle.
Okay.
That's cool.
Tito, do you want to talk about the story a little bit? Since me and Corey
Absolutely.
didn't get too far into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the story follows, and maybe you guys from playing the previous ones can give some insight, but the story starts with you're part of the Fifth Fleet, coming to the New World. Is that something they've ever talked about in the previous games? What number of fleet you are? Is that like a whole new thing?
I don't think so. That doesn't ring a
don't
bell.
recall.
I mean, it was always kind of weak story wise. Like,
Yeah.
it's a flimsy premise to go out and hunt big monsters.
Yeah.
Usually. So
I do remember arriving by boat though.
yeah.
Okay. So
Maybe.
yeah, so you're part of this fifth fleet. So I don't know how long the first, second, third, and fourth fleets have been in the New World. They kind of imply it's been years, maybe even decades. Like the first fleet was probably there like 30 years ago or something. I think they mentioned it briefly. But something happens where you're on the ship where you kind of get attacked, or not so much attacked, but you pretty much run into a mountain that turns out to be a giant elder dragon, which is this lore-based, thing in the game where the elder dragons apparently created the world, I want to say. And this one is called Zora Magdaros. And no one can figure out what Zora Magdaros is doing, why he's heading to the New World, but it's this giant mountain that's just moving slowly. And so once you reach the new land, everyone decides to pretty much bother this thing, in my opinion. It's just funny to me how like we're just terrible people hunting monsters, killing them, and then just bother. So the story is you meet up with the commander, and everyone's trying to figure out what is Zora Magdaros doing, where is he headed, and it turns out he's this giant elder dragon is on this pilgrimage, and I won't spoil too much after that, but that's pretty much the quest line is you essentially he does. The commander actually at one point says, I want to capture this thing, which is just a dick move.
Yeah.
But that's the story.
Okay.
And that was actually a really cool moment for me being new to this game, is when you reach the New World. You're kind of the boat pretty much dismantles, gets crashed on a mountain or something like that. And you have to regroup with everyone, and someone helps you find the base camp. And that moment of reaching Astera, which is what the little village base camp is really cool, because it just feels so well lived in. Like all the just little houses on everything moving and all the wood, like there's just so much going on around you, and it's just kind of overwhelming at first, but it's so neat. And as you progress through the story, there's actual visual changes that they add as you go through it. That's actually really cool. I really enjoyed that part of the game.
I'm glad you brought Astera up, Tito. I got a strong the pirate headquarters in Hook. That's the vibe I got.
Oh yeah, sure.
Bits and pieces of old ships here and there, and
they even have that crocodile just standing out. Yeah, no, that's a really good point, because it really does feel like that. It's just like, it's cool because if you look up, there's like half of the ship, just kind of like that's part, and people have made that into the little village house, and the different layers of the ship and stuff. It's really cool.
Okay.
But that's pretty much the story. The main part.
Corey, do you have anything else you want to add about Monster Hunter World?
Are the special items new? I got the ghillie suit, which is pretty cool.
Ghillie suit.
That was the first one.
The specialized tools.
Specialized tools, yeah.
Yeah. There's different types of pretty much gear that you can use to help you on your hunts. I don't know if they've had them in the previous games, but there's a lot of different types. And there's also something called boosters. Have they had that in previous games?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so they have that.
Boosters, wait, do you mean for like the quest boosters, or?
Yeah, they're
Actual,
like
like-
these. There's these. It's the same type of tool thing that you can equip with you, and there's like the one you get. I think that's very first is just a healing booster. You launch it, you put it in the ground, and anyone in that area will get healed over time.
Oh.
So it's kind of like the ghillie suit allows you to hide from a monster. There's one which is here's a tip if you guys continue to play, and you get it pretty early on. It's called the Vitality Mantle, and that pretty much makes you invulnerable to damage. So definitely once you get that, just equip that and use that for most of the game. Split up into two halves. You can pretty much use that the entire first half of the game.
Yeah,
So,
that's good to know.
yeah.
I'm also curious, Tito. You could probably answer this. Where can I get better equipment, or does that just come from playing the game? Because as far as I can tell, like I have fully upgraded my leather armor, and there's nothing else I can craft.
Does it say when you say fully upgraded, it tells you max?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to, as you progress through the story, you'll find new monsters. And once you encounter a monster, and I don't know if you even have to defeat it, but if you go back to the smithy where you craft all your stuff, it'll then have that monster's armor set. And the harder the later monsters will start with the base stat that will be higher than your older armors.
Right. Okay.
And you'll hit certain milestones in the story where it'll let you know, okay, all your armor sets can now be upgraded even more.
Gotcha.
So that max will eventually disappear, and then you can keep upgrading it if you want.
Okay, so just keep playing.
Yeah. I wish there was a transmog option. There actually is a mod that someone introduced in the game, but I'm kind of scared of using mods in fear of getting banned based on the
good point.
stuff and all that stuff. But yeah, because I only play games to look good.
Yeah.
I just want my character to look dope.
They have to look cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sucks because you have to like use the armor or weapon that's like gonna be most useful to you, and I just want to look badass.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to use this dorky, because some of the armor, it's fun, but it's just so silly. Some of these things that are, I think the funniest joke is there's an armor set that you get from insects, from killing the small insects that aren't really anything in the story. But if you kill enough, you can build this gigantic suit of armor. That's just makes no sense whatsoever. But yeah, I tend to go on the sleek, badass ninja style approach. But unfortunately, the closest thing to that in the game have stats that I don't care about. So
yeah,
they should have slots where you can wear stuff for, skins, basically.
Yeah, and they actually do have that feature in the game, but it's only for specific special event stuff.
Gotcha.
So, and some of them do look pretty cool. So they kind of do have a transmog slightly. I just wish it was just more embedded in the game of like wear anything you want, but it doesn't affect your stats.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
I am interested in knowing what you guys named your characters and your palicos. I always judge people based on like how good they are at naming things.
Okay.
So
my female character name in anything is Berwin. I picked that at some point years ago, and that's just what I use. And I named my palico Bixby.
Solid name.
It's like the Samsung voice assistant thing.
Oh, okay.
Bixby. So I figured since the palico would be assisting me in a lot of things, that's what I would call it.
You nerd. No, I named my. Oops, almost ripped my headphones off. I alluded to this already, but I named my guy's name is Dandy, and his companion Palico is Meow, because that's what they are in the show.
Nice. Solid. My character is Wand Eris, which I don't know where I got. It's supposed to sound like wondrous, and then kind of a reference to Eris from Final Fantasy. And then my Palico's name is Uno. And there's also the Poogie in the game, which there's a joke about you're supposed to pet your Poogie before or after every mission as good luck. It's like a running joke. However, they did include features in the game of petting your Poogie enough where he'll fall in love with you. And there's a clear animation with like hearts, and he'll jump around once every time you come back from a mission. If he does that, you then have him like pretty much obsessed with you, and you can actually pick him up and take him to different parts of Astera, and your controller will vibrate. And that means drop him in that place, and he will find an item for you.
Oh,
I love that.
That's fantastic.
And the biggest one you want to find is right near that where the handler sits. And the handler is a character that is pretty much your partner. The handler in the story is like the researcher part of the duo, whereas you're the fighter, protecting her and just killing monsters for research, in the name of research, quote unquote. But if you drop the Poogie next to her when your controller vibrates, he'll find a voucher. And vouchers are super important because they let you get, if you use a voucher at the canteen, you'll get every food skill that you can get from whichever dish you choose. You'll see these food skills that help you on your hunt. And the food stuff is really complicated. But just know if you have plenty of vouchers, definitely use a voucher if you're about to go on a hard hunt, because it'll just activate it, not just for you, but anyone else in that online session.
Oh, okay.
So
nice.
There's a secret tip for you.
That's back to your point, Tito, about this game being very well thought out.
Yeah, it's not like there really isn't much that I can think of that's like, oh, that's there, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's like you probably just haven't found out what it really does.
Yeah.
Right.
They have an idea behind it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to cover, Tito, or talk about?
Oh my God! I mean, there's just so much. Honestly, I'll make sure not to take up too much time. But the way the actual gaming takes place is there's your quest board, and so the quest is split up into quests, assigned, optional, investigations, and events. When you go to your questing board, you can choose those categories. And the assigned quests are the story mode, essentially. Optional quests will provide like different ingredients. They're usually quests you get from people, and they'll either give you a new item or a new ingredient to use in the canteen or some kind of tool, especially like one of the specialized tools or something. Investigations, from what I understand, is the bread and butter of the Monster Hunter series. And you'll notice, like, as you collect tracks when you're out in the field or kill monsters or do any kind of thing, you'll get these prompts that new investigation has been added. And that's how you pretty much hone in on what you want, because when you go back to Astera, you can choose the investigations that you want to fight for, or pretty much assign yourself. It's pretty much a custom, like a blank canvas where you can put your own quest that you want to go after, and it's based on, you can assign them based on like different monsters you have, and you'll see in the investigations it's different conditions. Like, okay, this one is for a Barrett. You hunt a Barrett, you have 15 minutes to do it, but you get cool rewards, and at the bottom it's split up as a bronze, silver, and gold rewards. And there's a time limit, and there's also a condition for how many players can join you. It's either a 4-player mission or a 2-player mission, but the harder ones usually mean you get better rewards out of them, better chance at because some of the armor you need, if they're really good, you need like a hard to get armor piece from a monster. And the way to do it, if you're bored of just, because you'll run out of assigned quests eventually, because that's the story mode. So how do you get these pieces? You go to the investigations, and the investigations, I mean, you're going to rack up a shit ton. You can hold 250 investigations, and if there's some that you're never going to go to, you can delete them, and you'll constantly get new ones, because that's actually how you play the game, is through the investigations. Okay. And it took me forever to understand that. It really took me hours and hours to like, what are investigations? I wish this wasn't here. It's like, there's so many, there's over 200 of them. And I learned, no, that's how you play the game, is through all that, because you got to look at the rewards you get. And then if you're trying to get, an Anjanath gem or whatever, it's like, well, that's like the hardest item to get from an Anjanath. It's like, well, you got to go do the investigations that reward the gold reward box. So that took a long time for me to understand. If you're new, that's probably something that you're just not going to get for a while.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I just have them all checked. Like every single investigation I have checked is on. So I should probably go in and find out which ones I actually really want to do.
And then the events are the special weekly, monthly events where you probably heard back when it came out on PS4. Like, there's an event for getting Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. You can get a Aloy skin and her bow.
That's cool.
There's also, if you play Street Fighter, you can get the Ryu skin, which is hilarious to me. But all that stuff is under the events section category of the game. So, and there's something else that we didn't do when we played together, Dan.
What's
and
that?
I kicking myself. There's something called guild cards in the game, and guild cards are awesome because it's pretty much your own player card that you can customize, where you can put your player in different poses and put.
I remember that. I remember that from Monster Hunter 4.
And so you can share them with different people. You have to be in the same online session to do it. But what's cool about it is, if you share your guild card with anyone, when you're playing the game solo, anyone's guild card that you have, their Palico might be in that same quest, just lounging about, and you can go over to that Palico and he'll join your party, and now you're a little army of 3, which is you and your Palico and your friend's Palico. And it's
I'm really glad you cleared that up, because I kept running into these random Palicos with like not normal fantasy setting names. Like, I thought they might have just been non-player characters that were populated into the game, but now that you're saying they come from these guild cards, it makes sense.
Yeah,
'cause they had like weird, like Sephiroth, XXX or whatever, like weird.
I love that part,
names.
because like most of the time I'm playing solo now, but it feels like I'm playing with a friend when I run into my friend's Palico or something.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love that. And then the last, I had a whole bunch of other things here, but I guess just to finish off, the quality of life stuff, from what I understand, whether they're in previous games, but I think most of them are new, but like the auto crafting is super useful.
Yeah.
The wish list, I really like that feature. You want something, you can put it in your wish list, and it tells you when you have enough components to build it. The custom loadouts, though, I would say are the biggest life changers. Getting pretty much custom loadouts I pretty much have loadouts for specific monsters I'm hunting, to like if I'm just farming for stuff, I have a farming loadout, and in just one click of a button, it can change your whole item loadout. You can even do it for your armor, because your armor stuff starts to get pretty complex in terms when you take into account decorations and augments that you use and specific armor sets and stuff like that. You definitely want to get in the habit of using the armor loadouts. That way you can just quickly select them.
Where do you set that up?
You go to your item box, and when you go to your item box, you can choose to manage items. And if I remember the button prompt correctly, you'll see manage items, and then if you hit the start button, that's where you can see a list of the loadouts, and you can have up to like 50. But you just, whatever you have currently, you can choose to save that, register the loadout, and then you can rename it to whatever. And then for the armor side of it, you just go to change equipment, and you would do the same thing, hit start, and it shows your armor loadouts for that. Early on in the game, you don't really have to worry about it, but pretty soon you definitely want to start to manage all that. And that goes into the custom radial menu. When you're like playing in the game, you know how you have in the corner that your D-pad that you use to like select you want to use an item.
Yep.
I definitely recommend getting used to using the radial menu instead, which is when you hold, I think, L1, and then it brings up a little radial thing, and then you can quickly from there, with your right thumbstick, you can then choose items. And it took, I want to say, like 50 hours until I really started to use it, but you're so much quicker using that instead of hitting left or right on the D-pad to find the potion you need. You can set the custom radial so that when you bring up your custom radial menu, you can use up, left, right, or down on the D-pad, and it brings up a different page of the custom radial menu. So like my main potions and stuff, I have it, on my up arrow. And then from my up arrow, then I have pretty much, you can set up to like 8 items, I want to say, or 6. I don't know, a certain number of them. And then my down arrow is like my traps. If I want to capture an animal, I have just right then and there, I can set a trap and then use my tranquilizers. And then when I bring up my custom radial and I hit left on the D-pad, that's how I communicate with everyone. Mm-hmm. Hang on a minute. I can ping my position to my team. Or when we're done, you can just give a thumbs up. You can use pictures to communicate. Um, so that I recommend, kind of looking at that and just setting up. It's hard to save it. They don't really tell you how to save your custom radio menu because it's tied to your item loadouts. So a lot of people will set up an item loadout and then go into customizing the radio menu. And then when they're playing the game, they pick their item loadout, but it erased all the stuff you just did with your custom radio menu. So just keep that in mind, because I could not figure out why it wasn't saving. I always had to reset it. And then I realized, once I set it, I then have to save it to my item loadout. And then the next really fun feature that I'll finish off with, that'll be the last thing I'll mention, is something called Shoutouts. I posted on Reddit when I first started playing the game. I just spent I titled it, I just spent the last hour customizing my shoutouts. 10 out of 10 would recommend to friends. And it's pretty much when you do certain things in the game, your character will automatically shout out, you'll get it on the side view of your screen. Like when you mount a monster, your character will yell out to anyone you're playing with, I mounted the monster. But you can customize all that stuff based on the conditions you're doing. So I have some of my favorites, and a lot of people use like movie quotes. Like they'll customize theirs so that they say movie quotes depending on what they're doing. My favorite, I would say, a couple of my favorites are if someone mounts a monster, my character will say, like, their character mounts the monster, and they'll say, "Oh, I mounted a monster," and then I respond, "Yeah, you did." And then you can also do a shout out for when you die, and I usually, I think the one I use is something like, "Remember me as a hero," is a popular one, something like that. So I recommend just customizing your inside jokes or movie quotes or whatever for your shout outs, because I just love seeing people's custom shout outs when I join random people on a quest. Yeah, they have like the weirdest jokes.
And they're automated, you're saying, right? Like,
yeah,
you can automate up
and you'll see the condition, like for when your character uses a health potion, what will you say?
Gotcha.
Or when you set a trap, I like to be like, he's got a bomb or something like that. So I remember just like I literally spent an hour like just customizing each one. And I was like, that was so much fun. I didn't even play the game. I was just like in the menu just doing stuff. So
nice.
But yeah, it's my game of the year so far, mainly because in this trend of games as a service, I feel like so many gaming companies have not been able to successfully do it, at least in the console realm. I know that MMOs have been around for a while on PC and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of console users, and that's becoming more mainstream in the console generation, where, Destiny was a popular one where Destiny, Sea of Thieves, The Division, these games that they are just not, they're trying to be a games as a service, but they don't have the content in place to satisfy gamers for more than a month.
Yeah.
And Monster Hunter World was the first game I played where they not only were prepared, but they had plenty of stuff down the pipeline. And it was clear to me that they know how to do this. They know how to make a games as a service. Because they've been doing it, like Corey had mentioned, they've been doing it for so long. They're pretty much their own industry, and they were able to do it successfully.
Yeah.
And they're the first game I played that did that right, where they'd have a new event every couple weeks or whatever to keep your interest. And it's not just like, here's a new monster and do the same thing you've always been doing. They've introduced these really cool, unique ways of doing things. Like the Kulve Teroth fight is a really different take on how to hunt monsters and stuff. So when they introduce that into the PC version, whenever that they do that, I definitely recommend trying that, because that was really cool. So it's a great game. It's just a fantastic game.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed my brief time with it so far. I definitely will keep playing it because I do love it. I should say too, I wanted to mention this before we move on, is that I played it both on my Steam Link. When I played with Tito the other night, I played it on my Steam Link. It worked great there, but I also played on my Chromebook with the Steam Link app, which also worked surprisingly well. So it's a game I'll be able to probably sit on my couch and play on my Chromebook, which is great.
You didn't feel any input lag or anything?
No.
It worked pretty well?
Yeah,
wow.
I was shocked that there was no input lag. None.
I had a question. Were you able to hear me at all?
I could not hear you. No, and I don't know if I have to change something on my Steam Link. I haven't used it that much, so I'm not familiar with the way everything works. But I'm not sure if I can plug a headset into it or because I have the
Corey,
Xbox
do you know?
Xbox One controller.
I don't know. I was gonna say I would chalk it up to the server issues they've been having.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if the Steam Link doesn't have that capable. It's just purely for streaming the game, and it doesn't add anything else to it in terms of
maybe a Bluetooth headset would work. I'm not even sure. Like I said, I've only used it a handful of times, so I have to use it more. But
yeah, it's
a good device.
The game is really good at playing multiplayer, but not having to deal with the multiplayer problems of.
I was actually going to ask that question: how much online you've done, and how toxic is it? How toxic?
Well, here's the thing: it's really easy to not like you can technically be playing multiplayer, but it still feels solo because you can turn off the chat stuff, and it's because a lot of people, especially if you're like have social anxiety or don't want to, you're kind of a shy person or whatever. You're not ever really directly communicating with anyone. You can just join someone's quest, and that's all you're doing. And it's 4 people just whamming on a monster. There's no like talking with each other. You don't need to do that. You can just, everyone kind of has a role, which is hit the monster.
Same goal.
Yeah, and what's funny is me and my friends would always like, you can shoot out an SOS flare to invite people to join you, and so someone back in Ostera, they can search for SOS flares and they'll see these specific hunts and they can join them. And you don't have to talk with anyone. You can turn that off. But we would always love when someone from like Korea would join, and because it would have like, the Japanese characters or Korean, whatever. Because like, oh, he's good. He knows what he's doing. Like, awesome. Yes, like, oh, we're in good hands.
Someone who plays this game,
like
14 hours a day.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're fine. They can probably just do everything themselves. But no, it's super easy to do. So I recommend, especially I know Dan, you tend to play solo a lot.
Yep.
This is a game you could totally just join people's quests or shoot out an SOS flare if you're having trouble with a monster, and 3 people will hopefully within 5 minutes join you, and there's no communicating involved. The only time I've actually heard people talking is when I've been in Astera or the other social space, and I was like, oh, I don't want to hear this, and I just muted it. So it's really easy. It's a cool game to like play with other people but not have to deal with listening to them. So
yeah,
good to know. So definitely we'll be playing more of that. Will, I'm gonna bring you in for some nibble bits. You haven't had a chance to say anything in a while.
Hi. Sorry, my
So-
internet went down too. Hi, Tito.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been going in and out. It's been a mess. I hate Spectrum.
Yep.
So I'll run through all of my nibble bits, starting with Assassin's Creed. Will be taking a break in 2019. Ubisoft announced I think it was 2 years back, that they were going to do every other year release, but kind of how their 2 studios lined up, they were able to release the Assassin's Creed game last year and then again this year, but next year they'll be taking a break, which is good because we have Assassin's Creed fatigue. So we had that year. Well, yeah, we had that year off, and then we got 2 games, with Origins being one of the best games in the series. So we'll see how Odyssey shapes up, but I think the delay is good for them.
Who's excited for that game, honestly?
Yeah. I'm
I'm
never
trying to
excited
find
for
out if I
them.
am. I can't tell. Because
Well-
I have Origins, and I know that game a lot of people really liked, but I don't know. I have to decide: am I over Assassin's Creed, which would be really sad.
On paper, I'm very interested in Odyssey. If I play it, is another story.
Yeah.
So, the studio behind Until Dawn is making a horror anthology series. Did any of you guys see this?
I heard it.
Yeah,
Talk
so
about it.
they're gonna be doing this thing where there's gonna be it's called the Dark Pictures Anthologies, and what it'll be is multiple horror games kind of tied into one. And the first one is called Man of Maiden, and it features 4 young Americans on a diving trip who encounter a World War II wrecked ship. So that's kind of the basis of that one. It's going to contain a bunch of different like scary horror stories all in one game. And I think that's a really cool idea because Until Dawn was the full-fledged game of that, and with this one, I think we can get some really cool kind of not like Telltale, because I think the Supermassive Games does a better job than Telltale making these type of games, but like short little stories of with decision making and horror all tied into it. And I think this has potential to be a really cool idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
yes.
Sorry to go back to your Assassin's Creed nibble bit, but while you were talking, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, didn't they take a break once before?
Yeah.
And they did. And the year after is when Origins came out, which I think some people would say that is the best one.
Mm-hmm.
So, just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, taking that time to like reimagine it, I think that helped a lot. Breathing a lot of new fresh air into the series.
Definitely.
So that means that they're going to go to space, pretty much.
Yeah, now we're talking.
That
Let's
would
be
excite
honest.
me.
Yeah.
That could get me back into it, definitely.
Do their present day Animus stuff, but with Assassin's Creed mechanics.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
So next, this one's cool for me because I was a big Diablo 2 fan, but Mephisto, who is the villain of Act 3, is headed to Heroes of the Storm. I know this was a long-awaited hero to be added, so I'm really pumped for that. Heroes of the Storm just keeps knocking it out of the park with the heroes and the maps and the content. I really wish I had the time to continue playing it because that game was too good.
Yeah, I did enjoy my time with HOTS.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
As did I. But after about a month, I got too far behind already, and everyone passed me by and haven't played it since. That first month, I could keep up, but...
I had
it's like anything else competitive, though. Go ahead, Will.
Well, we had that brief relapse where me and Eric at least started playing it again.
Yeah.
But
How long did that last?
A couple weeks. It's hard though because I want to play it, but I have like no friends to play it with me. I'm not a fan of playing these type of games with randoms because I'm not very good and I just don't have the time or patience to be ridiculed the whole time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've actually resorted to just most of my time, especially this past like few months, has just been Rocket League and then this one game mode in League of Legends called ARAM.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I prefer it is because it's only around 15 minutes long, and it's not the serious game mode that you see like in the esports tournaments and stuff like that. So most people don't take it too seriously, and that's all I play. Because I'm never going back to like the normal game mode in League of Legends because fuck that. I was just so I do not want to deal with those people. Like, and I don't have 45 minutes to be playing a game like that. Like every time, it's just like it's way too long. So ARAM is a nice medium, happy medium for me.
It's the same with me with Overwatch. I like to play the mystery heroes where you respawn as a new hero every time you die. And it's the same thing. Like, people don't take it too seriously. A lot of people use that to experience other heroes that they might not otherwise play. And it's just way more fun because no one's, like, yelling at you because you picked the wrong character or you're not doing the right thing. Yeah. Like, everyone's just goofing around, and it's way more fun.
Yeah.
Continue, Will.
So, 2 more. Real quick question. Did anybody tweet the Life is Strange 2 stuff?
No. I did not.
Crap. So 3 more. I gotta find the Life is Strange.
Was that announced at Gamescom?
So it was teased beforehand, but the concept of the game was announced. I guess from what I remember, it's 2 brothers who something happens, a cop dies, and they're trying to flee to
they're
Mexico.
On the run.
Yeah, they're on the run. They're trying to flee to Mexico. So that's the basis of that. And one is an older brother, like, 16, 17. The other is like a 9-year-old kid. Yeah. And you kind of got to be that father figure to the...
Yeah, he has... The younger brother has telekinesis, too, apparently.
Oh, so that's how it's going to come into play, huh?
Yep. I brought up... There's a video in the chat if anyone's interested. It's the official gameplay. Apparently they start in Seattle.
Yep.
So maybe on their way down to Mexico, they drive through Arcadia Bay.
Well, Dan, you know that teaser we talked about a few weeks back? I was pretty positive I saw Arcadia Bay.
Yeah.
they were driving it. So I would imagine that that's going to be tied in somehow.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Next,
So it is Captain Awesome then, right?
No.
It's not.
No, but he is supposed to make an appearance in the game.
Oh.
Captain Spirit.
Captain Spirit, is that his name? I don't know where I
It's-
got Captain
it's-
Awesome from.
It's the awesome adventures of Captain Spirit.
Ah, okay.
Corey, you dingus.
That explains it.
Twitch will stream months long worth of Pokemon next week. Dan, this made me think of your kids actually.
Oh, I'm going to put that on. It'll be a nice change of pace from what they usually watch.
So over the next several months, Twitch will stream all 932 episodes of the Pokemon anime series as well as every movie.
Holy crap.
My
So-
childhood came rushing back when I saw
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
I'm actually going to be watching this here and there. The marathon will start at 1 p.m. Eastern on August 27th with one episode, with the first episode starting off. And from there, they'll run 8 hours worth of episodes from Monday through Thursday. On Friday and Saturday will be reserved for reruns and movies airing. So,
It's a good chance to catch up on all the movies I never saw.
Yep. Oh man, they have a list of all the movies. There's I think 16 of them.
Yeah, there's a few on Netflix right
Jesus.
now because my kids have watched a couple of them. They're pretty good.
Yeah,
the XY is it XYZ. The series is pretty good. Will, I know they were watching that for a little while.
Yeah, actually, in my opinion, I know a lot of people are nostalgic for the Indigo League, which is the first one, but I really actually think Pokemon X, Y, and Z is the best of the anime. I think Ash is less of an idiot, and I think the animations are pretty good, and the battling and the characters are likable. So I was actually a really big fan of that series. And last but not least, this one strikes the closest to me. Spyro Reignited. Delayed November 13th. The Toys for Bob, who's doing the remaster, said that they needed more time to really kind of give the game the love and care that it needed. But I guess there was rumors going around that the developers were trying to go to Activision to get them to delay the game because they didn't think it was going to be ready for the deadline. Activision said no. And then with all the big deal about the games 2 and 3 not being included on the disc. Supposedly, this is what I was reading online, that they actually convinced Activision to delay it, and with this delay, they're going to have the second and third games on the first disc, so all of them will be on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, as bummed out as I am this got delayed, it's kind of a good thing, because they're going to have... I think we talked about it when this first broke, and I think I said, I wonder if they're not putting games 2 and 3 on there because they're not going to have enough time to do it because they're running behind. And it turns out that they were still working on the third game. So I think what we came up with, Dan, when we talked about it, is in fact true.
What's that?
That they weren't going to finish the games and be able to put them on the disc in time.
Oh, gotcha.
So I think that's why they ended up doing it, and they actually were able to convince Activision to delay it. So. I could be proven wrong, but
I just need a Steam or Switch confirmation. It's rumored to be everywhere, and it's leaked a few different places. But I need official.
Yeah,
It's official. Let's get it done.
Yeah, definitely. I think Crash was 6 months after release date that it came to PC and Switch.
Yeah,
I
that sounds
think.
about right.
So it might be the same thing. I don't know why they wait for these two.
To sell more.
Why is? Yeah, true. It's evil. I don't like it.
That's what Grand Theft Auto did. Grand Theft Auto 5. They did the Xbox 360 PS3 version, and then they did PS4 and Xbox One versions, and then they did the PC version last. So
Yep.
they drew it out as long as they possibly could.
Just evil. It is just evil.
It is evil. Anything else?
That means that's it. For
Okay.
me.
I got a couple quick ones. The first is that Valve is working on something called Steam TV, and this launched briefly during the International. It's apparently, from what I gather, it's supposed to be a Twitch competitor, yet another Twitch competitor, Twitch and YouTube gaming competitor. But yeah, the website leaked briefly during the International, and all you could watch was some of the International. So I think they've since taken it down. They haven't officially announced anything about it, but that's that. Who knows what's happening with that? But and then for my next nibble bit, Reigns, which I talked about me playing. I played today for a little bit. They announced a Game of Thrones version for Reigns today, which I'm pretty excited for, having played Reigns now and enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm very excited to play the Game of Thrones version. So, Corey, I don't know if you'll be interested in it, but it's quite good.
I don't know anything about it, so everything I know you just said.
Okay. Yeah. It's good stuff. I'll talk about the game during our what we played. So,
Cool.
Tito, what do you got for nibble bits?
I feel like I had two, but I can't remember one of them. There was big news though concerning my favorite game, Rocket League. They released a progression update that's incoming on August 29th, and the main things to know about this is that they're pretty much overhauling how progression works in the game. Right now, the way it works is the cap is level 75, and that's when you reach level 75, or I think at level 70, you become a Rocketeer because you get different titles. What they're going to do, though, is it's pretty much it's going to become unlimited how many levels you can go up, and it's going to be a flat rate for every time you level up. So instead of it becoming you need more and more experience points to get to the next level, it's always the same amount. So you're pretty much going to see people at level 300 and so forth. And they'll include new titles. They'll also adjust how it works for progressing in terms of, like, say you stay in the same server and continue to keep playing games, you get bonus experience for that kind of stuff. They're going to add avatar, borders, and the new thing that I'm really excited about before the cross-platform parties that they're going to introduce next month is something called clubs, where you can pretty much form a team and have up to 20 players join your team, and you can set the team colors and the team name and all that stuff. And I'm assuming that's pretty much gonna how they're gonna do their esports is gonna use that system, because that's tied into their thing called Rocket ID, which is pretty much having a Psyonix account. And I think that's pretty much how cross-platform parties is going to be doable, essentially.
Cool.
Instead of being tied to a Steam name or a PlayStation name, you now have a Psyonix account, and you use that to do cross-platform parties, I'm assuming.
Okay.
Does that mean you can do competitive cross-platform parties?
I don't know about competitive, but it seems like they really want to. I don't know. I don't know. I would hope so.
Yeah.
I wonder though if it's not going to be available for everyone, in terms of, how Sony does not want to allow for cross-platform. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually only really going to be for PC and PlayStation
and Switch.
Or PC is PlayStation, but then also Xbox, PC, and Switch.
That's right. Because PC can play with both, right?
PC can play with
anyone, but the consoles are separated between Nintendo, Xbox, and PC, and then PC and PS4 are separate. Okay.
But there's actually a lot to it as well, because there's also something called the Rocket Pass, which I tried reading through it, and it's kind of complicated, but it deals with I don't understand it. I'm actually kind of confused by Rocket Pass, but they're gonna be introducing that as well. Okay. And it's a way to gain new items. And since everything's just cosmetic, no biggie for me. I'm wondering if it's gonna be tied to how they pretty much support the tournaments and how they pay their players. Because the way it works is all the purchase, if you purchase keys, all that money goes toward the prize pool. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's going to be the case with Rocket Pass, but a lot of cool stuff coming up for Rocket League.
Okay. So. Real quick, Tito, I wanted to thank Hillary Clinton's ass for following us on Twitch. They demanded to be mentioned by name, so.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Hillary Clinton's ass.
Thanks for the follow.
So go ahead.
Gamescom happened.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about. Wow, I am so out of the loop.
I wanted to see if they had any more Cyberpunk 2077 stuff, but from what I can understand, all they really showed were just screenshots, no actual gameplay of anything. So
Right.
that was kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I can't remember what else I was going to mention, but probably wasn't a big deal.
What do you got, Corey?
I don't do nibble bits. I retired.
Retired.
I did see. I didn't, and I asked you guys about this in our group chat. And I don't even really know anything about it. But the Amazon-backed MMORPG, New World or something like that. Yeah, this isn't even news. It's just I'm just pointing out the fact that I just heard about it today. So, if anybody knows anything about that, I'm kind of curious.
Nothing.
Amazon backed? You mentioned?
Yeah.
Let me call it up. What's it called again?
New World.
It'll be an MMO.
MMORPG.
Wow. They're spending a lot of Amazon's spending a lot of money on stuff right now because I just got into this book called The 3 Body Problem, which I hear is like one of the best books people have ever read. And funny enough, not like a few months ago, it turned out Amazon is going to be, they bought like the rights to it to make a series associated with the book, and they're going to be spending $1 billion on it.
What?
Oh my gosh.
$1 billion.
Oh my god. Over like one season?
I guess so. I still haven't like gotten, it's like a sci-fi book, but it's like, I mean, people love it, and I'm still trying to find out about it. But I was like, oh, this must be, I better get reading because if they're spending $1 billion on a series, it must be good. So,
is it by Cixin Liu?
Yeah, it's from China. It's a Chinese author.
Cool.
Which to me tells me that the story is probably super interesting.
Yeah, it's something
Like,
different
very
than
different.
what we're used to, anyway.
Yeah. But my friend just wanted me to let everyone know that he highly recommends it. It's one of the best books he's ever read. I think Corey, you might be really into it.
Say that I think I have 2 Audible credits, so maybe I'll use that for an audiobook.
It's a highly recommended book.
All right, what's the name again? Because if I don't write it down, I'm gonna forget it.
The 3 Body Problem.
The 3 what problem?
3 Body Problem.
3 Body Problem. Okay. Gotta make a notation. Okay, there it is. All right.
Yeah,
got
it's
it.
apparently part of a trilogy too. It's the first novel of the Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy.
Cool.
And he wouldn't tell me what it was about, and that always gets me excited when they're like, I don't even want to tell you anything about it. So I was like, okay.
Valerie Annie asked in the chat about the Lord of the Rings series. Didn't they also spend $1 billion on that or close to it?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, they're just spending money out the wazoo. It's insane.
Yeah.
I don't.
That doesn't seem smart. I mean,
I always
don't
wonder
know.
how Netflix ends up spending all this money on all these exclusive series. They can't see a huge return in new subscribers and stuff. I wouldn't think. Right?
I have a couple of friends that work for them, and I feel like I'd asked that question in terms of like, what the hell is the strategy?
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to think like they need enough content
keep
to
people
justify, just to justify people paying, like, because I remember like a few years ago how it was just like it's all the same stuff, and now they introduced this monthly kind of where they're constantly changing and refreshing the library. They kind of have to, but they're pretty much like fine with like, we are buying all these different types of shows and things, and because ideally once you hit the one that hits jackpot, that covers a lot of stuff apparently. So
yeah, like I wonder how many people, similar to Game of Thrones on HBO, just like activate Netflix when Stranger Things comes out and then deactivate it,
Yeah.
I also wonder too, like how the costs have risen for Netflix to buy rights to play a show or a movie. I don't know if it's gone up or gone down, but I wonder if that's their way of supplementing, because it does seem like they have a lot less unoriginal content than they used to. And obviously they have a lot more original content. So I wonder if that's just their way of making up for what they can't afford outside of their original content. I don't know.
I mean, maybe it's a cheaper option to come up with their own things than it is to pay, a movie or television studio to have their stuff on Netflix.
Especially now that everyone wants their own streaming service, like
Yeah.
Disney,
Right.
a few other. It's kind of annoying for me. It reminds me of how every game company now wants their own
Client.
their own game client.
Me and Will complained
It's just
about
like-
that a couple weeks ago.
It's brutal.
Yeah, I do remember though back in the day when Steam was new, everyone hated Steam.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, because to me it honestly it doesn't bother me too much because it's just a thing I have to open up. The most annoying thing for me is remembering my password for it because
Yep.
I'm like, God damn it, I'm constantly forgetting my password.
Yeah. Origin.
I'm like,
Origin, because it keeps me signed out for whatever reason, and it doesn't remember the password, and I have to reset it every single time.
Yeah.
I remember way back in 2006, I bought a computer game from Walmart called The Ship that I thought looked cool. And it was a Valve game. That meant nothing to me at the time, but it required me to install Steam. And I was so annoyed. I'm like, what is this? Why do I have to download this whole other client to play this one game?
I just love I remember still all the reasons people were saying why they were hating Steam when it came out. It's like, it's going to take up computer resources. It's going to slow down my performance for my games. It's like everyone loves Steam now. It's like no one cares.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else, Tito?
That's all I can think of.
Okay. Oh, Corey. We're on Corey. Did you have anything else, Corey?
No, but you can sign up for the alpha for New World
Okay.
if that interests anybody. Let me see if I can read a little paragraph or something about the game.
Yeah, I've got something up in the chat, but it's just like a behind-the-scenes graphical thing. It's not gameplay or anything
Yeah.
that I can tell. It
I
looks
can't find a good digestible
so. It looks.
paragraph.
It looks like New World. It looks like it's set in the Age of Exploration. When
I'd say that's a fair guess, Dan.
when they. That's what it looks like. Well, here's some gameplay right now. It looks like a conquistador, landing in eastern South America someplace and
Yeah.
exploring the jungles.
Join a company and work together to claim territories, build thriving settlements, fight off player bandits, and push back the dark and wild forces that occupy the land to leave your mark on history. Adventure, exploration, and opportunity await you.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
It's Amazon backed.
Publisher, Amazon Game Studios.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense for them to get into this. So much money in it, I guess. Might as well. He's the richest man in the world, so of course
I wonder,
they're gonna.
I wonder if this one's going to be $1 billion.
Yeah. Oh my god. It reminds me of how Star Citizen is just this strange bankroll of because I follow a lot of the YouTube channel stuff for Star Citizen because I find it fascinating how they're doing all these videos just to prove it's really just an excuse to prove to people this isn't a scam.
Yep, it's
but
an
we're
actual
just-
game.
And there's actually it's kind of cool because they have all these little series and stuff. They used to do this thing called Bug Smashers of the lead QC guy would show everyone how he's fixing this bug. He'd show the bug and then they show the coding stuff, and then that caused Crytek to sue them because it showed enough of the coding in the videos. So,
Oh my
it
god.
was and so now they're in
That's
this legal
fun.
dispute with Crytek because
That's right,
what's
I
funny
remember
too
hearing
is
about
a lot of the Crytek employees actually moved when they went bankrupt or whatever. They Chris Roberts Space Industries
Cloud
company.
Imperium.
Yeah, Cloud Imperium Gaming hired a lot of those Crytek employees.
Huh.
So, and now I think the update is Crytek just wants to be credited for architecture or something. I don't know, some weird stupid shit.
Interesting.
It's fascinating to just follow though, because it's they're nearing. I want to say they're well over 150 million in making this game.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what other games have gotten close, like have spent that much money, to make this game. I know like BioShock Infinite was like an insane amount of money, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a few of them. The like was not
Grand
the
Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto. Was it one of the Tomb Raiders? Shadow of the Tomb Raider maybe was close to that.
Really? Wow. Are you
Yeah,
sure?
wasn't that the
Or no,
one where they?
it was Uncharted, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
One of
would
the more
say Uncharted because I
Uncharted's.
remember Tomb Raider, like their goal was like to sell like 7 million games, or it was a big deal that they sold 7 million games. So I would imagine that to me, Uncharted makes more sense.
Yeah,
like,
I think it was
that's a
Uncharted.
pretty big series.
Oh, here you go. I got a list right here. Star Wars: The Old Republic, approximately 200 million.
Wow.
What?
GTA 5, 137. Max Payne 3, 105. Battlefield 4, 100. Red Dead Redemption's 80 to 100. And it just goes down from there.
Yeah, and it's funny because like at this point, even if Star Citizen didn't become like an actual game, like they're mainly like it seems like becoming a tech like company. Like they're developing tech
Yeah.
that will then be used by other game companies.
for something else. Yeah.
Because their procedurally generated cities showcase thing was really cool. Like that was awesome. I was like, holy shit, that looks amazing.
I'll have to watch
like a whole
that.
planet that's a city. It was so cool.
Huh.
So yeah.
I know you guys are dying to know the most expensive canceled game.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's
The
hear it.
Halo MMO. 90 million.
Wow.
I'm kind of glad.
Fable Legends, 75 million. Never heard of This Is Vegas, but that was 40 to 50 million.
Will, would you have enjoyed that Halo MMO? Would you have played that?
My gut says no,
But your heart says yes.
but my heart is telling me I would love that.
I'm trying to decide. I don't think I would have enjoyed it. I don't know. I got to a point where I got tired of Halo. I was like, I've done my time.
Yeah.
I would be Covenant. Change it up.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it would be kind of boring.
Not to change the subject, unless you guys are still chatting about
Right.
that.
No, go ahead.
Valerie brought up the point in the chat. I wonder if Amazon will bring back the 20% new games that they publish. So Amazon recently announced that they were doing away with that. I know Best Buy has done away with their program that's similar. Why do you think that is?
What was the deal?
So Amazon gave 20% for Amazon Prime customers. They give 20% off new games,
Physical
pre-orders of new
copies.
games,
Physical
copies. Same with Best Buy. They had the same 20%. And I'm just trying to figure out like why all of a sudden are these places canceling those programs? Because I loved that. I always took advantage of that. I mean, I rarely bought new games, but when I did, I always went to Amazon because of that.
If I were to guess, I mean, I'm terrible with like business sense stuff, but I just feel like it's slowly become like it's not a loud issue right now, but everyone's going digital, I would assume.
Mhm.
Like even people who were claiming that they like, as much as I want to buy my games physical, I noticed like this past year it hasn't been an issue, and everyone's just like slowly, subconsciously, just like I'm just gonna download my game. Like,
Yeah.
it's just way more convenient, And
I wonder
so
if they can't offer it for digital for some reason. I don't know.
They are going to offer. I didn't read the whole email, or not enough to make sense of it anyway. But they are going to offer $10 credits on new games instead for Amazon Prime members. So I don't know how that's going to work exactly. If that's also going to work on digital, or if it's just physical.
So the pessimist in me is like, oh my gosh, all the game publishers are colluding, and they're going to raise the price of games like soon. And these retailers were getting out ahead of that and saying, well, we can't offer 20% on a $75 game anymore,
Right.
so we have to change our program.
I wonder if it's like how much say does a game company have on like the deals that
Yeah, that
an
retailers
Amazon
have.
would do or whatever? Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, no, don't do like. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter to them because the retailers have to
Pay
buy
full
the
price,
games.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that's just Best Buy, especially. That's their way of getting you in the door, and,
Right.
and hope you buy something
Yeah.
else. Maybe I would guess not a lot of people do that. I know I never did that.
We need a business expert who can
Yeah.
answer this.
Yeah.
Eric's the closest thing we got.
Yeah, I am terrible with that kind of stuff.
I'm not much good either. All right. Corey, how's your week?
My week, wow. Very busy. Very busy. It's been one of those weeks where, about 10:30 at night is when I can finally have some leisure time. I was looking ahead in the calendar. I don't have a free weekend again until October 5th, which is a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, I'll say.
So
That does suck.
it's just been busy, very busy. I'm trying to think. Did we do anything fun recently, Soph? Oh, we went to the sunflower field.
That's sick.
Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
that's cool.
What did we do this past weekend? Anything?
Couple cabins.
I have to make sure people think I'm cool, so
God, this guy's such a nerd.
So without hearing you, Will, Sophie joked that we went to another cabin.
She gets it too.
Perfect.
I'm trying to think if I watched anything recently. I can always default to that. I know I have. I've been watching Sharp Objects on HBO. I think the last episode is Sunday. That's exciting. Oh, so I've been watching this show. I guess it was 2015 History Channel show called Alone. And they took wilderness survival experts and dropped them off about 7 miles. I think it's 7 miles apart from each other on Vancouver Island in the Pacific Northwest. And no film crew, no nothing. They gave each survivalist a camera, several cameras to film everything that they do, and just said, survive as long as you can. Here's a satellite phone if you need to call us for an evac. And it's pretty crazy. At first, I'm like, oh, Pacific Northwest, there's nothing to worry about there. But it's the highest population density of
Kodiak
black
bears.
bears. Yep.
Yeah.
Cougars and wolves.
Oh.
And 3, I don't know if any of you guys are going to watch it. It's kind of old at this point. But 3 or 4 of the people have left because they were being stalked by bears.
Oh,
What?
yeah. No, thank
They
you.
call satellite. There's footage of a guy just sitting in his tent, terrified all night, while the bear is just right outside waiting for him. And then when morning comes, he calls on his satellite phone. He's like, "This isn't worth dying over."
Yeah, it's not like a tent is going to protect you from a bear either.
No, but it's cool because some of those guys you can tell really know their shit and have awesome shelters and are eating just the weirdest things that they find, and they explain to you which nutritional elements they're getting from it and stuff like that. It's really interesting.
That's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Corey, have you seen, I wanted to see if you've seen, it's this anime movie that was really popular last year. Your Name? I think
Your Name. I've started watching it a couple times. Every time I sit down, I'm just not in the right mood for it. It kind of just puts me to sleep. So it's on my radar. I definitely want to see it, but I haven't yet. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Corey?
Not really.
All right.
I'm boring.
I'll go next. I got a couple things. First, my wife and I played Celeste for this week's Rookie Camp episode. That actually got split into 2 parts because I ended up getting a random bloody nose halfway through Celeste, and I stopped the video. And for whatever reason, it usually only takes 5 or 6 minutes for the video to finish saving to the hard drive. And it took 2 hours, so we had to finish the episode the next day. So it ended up being a day late, but yeah, that was fun. She really enjoyed it. She played through the entire first chapter, I guess, the first world during the episode. So that was good.
She liked it.
Yeah, she loved it. Absolutely loved it. We started very briefly house shopping. We went to look at a house today.
How's that going?
I'm already depressed about it. We looked at one house and I'm like, oh God. So our house is getting to be too small. So after we got done looking at the house, it was okay. But we're already like, okay, so how much would it cost to put an addition on this house? It's probably not gonna end up being worth it, and we'll probably buy a new house. But
The same
it
area?
sucks. Yeah, same area, same school district. And that's the problem. It's the only good school district in the area, so everyone
dare
wants
you.
to live here. It is.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, by the way, I really did enjoy that gaming and education episode.
Oh,
Thought
yeah. Good.
That was a really cool topic.
It's something my wife and I talk about like every few days. We'll have a long conversation about it's technology as it relates and gaming and education. So
I'm fascinated with gamifying life,
yeah,
like all those things of I don't know. It fascinates me and also kind of depresses me because like I feel like it's inevitable. It's just things that are gonna.
Yeah, kids these days need that motivation to do well. Yeah, I hear you.
What was the movie that I didn't really enjoy? The Steven Spielberg. Just this.
Ready
past
Player
year.
One?
Yeah. What a stupid movie. I hated that.
I've heard good things about the book.
Yeah, I heard the same thing, and I just watched the I never read the book. I mean, it was one of those things I heard like similar to 50 Shades of Grey, where really popular, but in terms of like writing, like whoever is like a writer was like, yeah, it's like who wrote this, like an 8th grader or something,
Yeah.
one of those things. But the topics, are really cool. But I don't know. I just thought the whole thing, especially coming at like someone who plays a lot of games, I was just like, man, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Because I'm still in the boat of like, it's kind of still a guilty pleasure for me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't love to like tell everyone that I game a lot.
Yeah.
Unless I meet other gamers, but it's so I don't know. I like gaming being in the place that it is.
Yeah.
But now that it's becoming so much more, and like like Stephen Colbert having Sean Murray as a guest, I'm like, what is this? Don't do that. Like, what do you? I feel bad for the audience members who are like
who is
60-year-old
this guy?
women. Like,
Yeah.
what is this? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like it's just like so strange for them.
Yeah.
Like I has to be
Does-
explained to them. Like, this is the way the world's gonna be. So whatever.
Does Conan still do Clueless Gamer?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does it. That one I kind of enjoy, but sometimes I'm just like, I feel bad for the celebrity that somehow got duped into doing that segment, and it's clear that they don't care about that. Like, it's some beautiful woman with a controller in her hand, and she's like, "This is dumb. Like, what am I doing?"
This is dumb, but please watch my movie.
Yeah. Like, I will do whatever. It's just, I'm forced to. Reaper loves Ready Player One.
I was gonna say I love is a strong word, but I enjoyed the spectacle of it.
Yeah, that was my only like. It was a lot of stuff happening, but
yeah.
Once it was over, I feel like that movie really was kind of just quickly forgotten. And I look back on it, I'm like, yeah, that was a stupid movie. That was just a really bad, stupid movie. So
Yeah.
he accidentally bought it twice.
Nice. Also, I didn't give an update last week, but my one meal a day diet, it's going really well. I've lost like 12 and a half pounds.
I noticed when you were out here last, Dan, by the way.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's been pretty easy. I had 2 cheat days. I had one a week and a half ago, Sunday. I had spaghetti with meat sauce and garlic bread, and it took until Friday of that week for me to get rid of that weight. But then I had a cheat day last Sunday where I ate crap all day, and it was gone Wednesday. So I don't know what's up with that, but it's worked really well so far. I don't really get hungry during the day at all, and when I eat my supper, I feel full and satisfied, instead of having to like eat half a meal like you should. So
Supper.
It's worked really well so far.
Tito,
pretty
do
happy with it.
you use the word supper?
Din.
Nah.
Do you hate the word supper?
I don't hate it. I think it's a cute word. I mean, it's like it's a cultural thing, like, because my parents are Puerto Rican, and so that's just like I wonder. I never really became fluent in Spanish, but I'm like, do we have a Spanish word for supper? Like, is that like in Puerto Rico? Do they have a supper equivalent?
Yeah.
And I have no clue, but no, we never used it at home, and it's a cute word.
Well,
It's like a word I'd hear in a book. You know,
Yeah, I've had people call me out on saying it, and I'm like, what do you like? I've been saying this my whole life and never thought twice about it, and
that's
now
not the
like,
1800s. What are you doing?
I feel like it's something people that that have kids say. You have supper.
yeah, because you're
Yeah,
never having
that's
dinner. You're just
Yeah, it's
You're
it's
supping.
it's freaking chaos. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not dinner. It's a food shit show basically.
it's a good
So-
way to put it.
There's that, and then one last quick thing. So my son is what my older of the twins, the older and bigger of the twins, Marco. He got a little behind on his speech, so we had a speech evaluation. They determined, or they wanted us to take him to an audiologist to see if he had hearing loss. So we took him there. 2 different appointments. They determined he did have hearing loss. He had from fluid in his ears. So we took him to a ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor on Monday. And they are getting us in tomorrow to get tubes put in his ears. So he's got to have a little surgery tomorrow. So we're
Aw.
leaving first thing in the morning to take the little guy, who's almost 2,
Poor
to get
guy.
a little brief, easy surgery, but still a surgery nonetheless.
So, how do you talk about that with him?
What do you mean?
How do you prepare him for that?
You don't. It's just
You just
we're
kind of
just
say,
gonna
"We're
go
going to
there.
the doctor."
Yeah, we're just gonna go, and we'll see when we get there. But yeah, they've got to put him to sleep and everything. Like it's
Oh,
crazy.
man.
But so that's what I have to look forward to for tomorrow. Tito, what do you got?
I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I love barbecue food, and
Amen.
well, not just barbecue food, but I've gotten really there's like this new trend. I don't know if it's just like out here in big cities or something, but I live in LA, and something that's really popular. Actually, I don't know why I opened with barbecue food, but
Great opening though. I thought.
Food gets everyone's attention.
yeah, just food in general. But like people, we have a lot of food trucks out here. But now what's really popular is people starting like pop-up tent types of food places, like on the side of the street, kind of thing. And because of social media, Instagram and stuff like that, they can promote just through there, and they become popular, and people find out about them through Yelp. And I found this place months ago called Raging Hot Chicken, which is like Nashville style hot chicken. And I saw them on Yelp, and I couldn't find the building, and it turned out they're like located in a parking alley of like an auto shop after 8 p.m. when the auto shops close down. They then move in and have their food stuff out, and they just cook right there outside. And it was delicious, and I fell in love with them. And it turned out though that because they had like 30 something reviews of 5 stars. That's how they started. They started hot, like they were on fire, like 5-star reviews and everything. And then it turned out that like the minute people started giving them 4 3-star reviews or whatever, just because it wasn't true Nashville style hot chicken or whatever, the owner apparently would reply threatening them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just like and this became like big news on Yelp and the LA Weekly or whatever. And Yelp will do this thing where they close off like any reviews, because once a store, like a restaurant or whatever, makes the news, it invites a lot of like troll behavior or whatever. So they actually like close it off so that it doesn't affect the reviews. But they just had to like suspend their Yelp account for a while, and they had to go quiet. They had to go underground because of this.
Wow.
And I was devastated because I really liked the chicken.
Uh-huh.
Like it was delicious. I don't care that the guy was threatening other people just because they posted poor reviews.
Tito, you're the real victim in all this.
Yeah, like no one was thinking about how I felt. And no, but they finally popped up again like 2 months ago in a new location around my area. And the reason why I love this place is because weirdly enough in LA, once it hits 10 p.m., a lot of places close. And I don't know if I got like, what's the word? But my college, I went to a college town, and in places like those, like you can find food at 3 a.m., like plenty of food places or whatever. And you would think LA being the city, one of the largest cities in the world, that there'd be so many places open at 1 a.m. or whatever, and that is not the case at all. So here's this magical place that has awesome different type of food that they're open from like 8 p.m. till midnight, 1, 2 a.m. And I got tired of going to Taco Bell and Subway all the time when it was 11 p.m. or something. So I fell in love. It was like this that Seinfeld episode where Kramer gets like addicted to this chicken place. My roommate tells me, because my roommate's like 39. He's like much older than me. So he's still in like the old world and knows a lot of these older TV shows. I mean, I watched Seinfeld, but he was like, "You're like Kramer." Like he was addicted to this chicken place, and so I started going there again, and it was a real addiction. I was getting it every night.
Wow.
And the best thing happened to me last night. I got food poisoning from them.
Oh no.
Really bad. And it was funny because before I got the food, I remember just thinking as I'm like, I put in my order because they take a while. It's not a fast food place. They take a while. I put in my order, and as I'm walking to my car, I'm like, man, I've been going here a lot. I can like, what if I died from this food? What if like something like in a weird way, like what my love is what killed me. And when I got there, like they also had a dog, like on the, like the guy got a new dog or whatever, a little puppy. And I was like, don't have your dog near food. Like, what is the. And so I go home and I'm eating my food and I wake up at 3 a.m. and, I had to do the whole business of like, I weirdly kind of enjoy getting food poisoning in the sense that it's cool to see the body do what it's supposed to.
Yeah,
it's a
to
reset.
get rid of it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I knew like I feel really shitty now, but I kind of enjoy once you get it out of your system how your body immediately feels better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's kind of cool that our body like is like a machine programmed to do this thing, like in a weird way. I kind of enjoy that stuff, but I was like, this is the best thing to happen because I don't feel like going there anymore.
Yeah.
I am done with that place. So, and I needed that because I was.
Did you write a bad review?
I'm gonna change my 5-star review to a 4-star. But I'm not going to mention why because I don't want to die from the hunger.
Yeah.
I don't want to know because I went there so often they know me by name. Like I'm good buddies with the cashier dude. Like we talk about MMA all the time and stuff. So they'd see my review. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to change my review. I think I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm just gonna
steer clear for a while.
We have we deal with through my work. We deal with a lot of HVAC clients, HVAC owners and stuff, and they're like very rough around the edges kind of people. And the same way, like multiple times we've had to stop these business owners from just ripping into their former customers because they left them a bad review. Like we had one of the guys even said like, well, you get what you pay for, like implying this person had bought a cheap system from them and that's what she got. And it's like, well, you don't say that. You can't put that online for everybody to see.
Yeah, I just love that this idea, like the guy that's like meeting everyone, that like the customer comes and it's the first line of contact and it's the worst type of person that you could have in that role. Like, don't give him access to the Yelp account, like, where he can start threatening people. Like, don't you know this from, like, because it's like, I'm assuming family run, operated,
Yeah.
They're from, I don't know where they're from, but like, they're clearly like the younger, third, fourth generation kids running like while their parents are like with their secret recipe making the food or whatever.
Yep.
And it's just kind of funny. It's like, is the dad like the one harassing everyone? Like, get him off. Like, what are you doing? Just hilarious to me.
Nice. Okay, what else you got, Tito?
I work in post production in LA, and June and July was insane because we call them temples, like major things that we have to do, like the MTV Movie Awards and all this stuff was happening. It all took place at the same time. And finally, August and September looks like it's much. I just got out of like a super busy summer and I haven't had a vacation, so I'm kind of enjoying now like a little bit more free time, kind of getting back into gaming because I was in a gaming funk for a good while. Like a long enough one where I'm like, am I slowly getting out of gaming? Because one, much like Corey and Eric mentioned, how gaming is very much social now, especially with Eric.
Yeah.
It's like the social thing now. He doesn't care what he's playing. He just needs social time with his friends to do something. But I don't have anyone anymore, really. Like the guy I usually play with is on the East Coast, and we're kind of slipping further apart from like our gaming habits because I helped him build a computer. A lot of my friends are very much casual gamers, just console users and stuff. And we played so much often that he's like, I wouldn't be opposed to building a computer. That way we can keep playing and stuff since he uses it so much. But it's very clear he doesn't care about. He's barely used his PC. And I kind of don't feel bad because I'm not the one that made him pay for it, but I helped him build it and all this stuff. And it was a little over $1,000 and this thing he doesn't use very often. And now we don't really play too much now. And I'm like, shit, I don't really have many people to play with now. And I just I don't care what I'm playing. I just want to hang out with friends.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just like, shit, like and I'm getting tired. I'm getting old, like I used to like stay awake all night on a whim, just like, oh, oops, like I didn't go to bed. But now I'm like, when it hits like 10:30, like I'm like, okay, I'm ready to hit the hay, and I've become a workaholic too. So I'm just like, I guess that's a good problem because hopefully that means I'll move up. But my gaming habits are slowly kind of dying, but they've kind of come back, especially with No Man's Sky. I've been playing a lot of that, and Ni no Kuni, which I'll talk about a little later.
Okay.
Yeah. It's funny too, Tito. I could totally relate to what you're saying. It's funny, like what game will surprise you and sort of bring you back in.
Yeah.
And for me, it was Ni no Kuni, really. But I guess we'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry, Tito. Corey and Eric hate games too.
Yeah, you get it. Yeah, you understand.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got, Will?
So I have a question for people who have made this, because I don't remember. How much does the drive from New York to Florida suck?
Oh, it's terrible.
I did it a few times. It's fine.
It's fine.
There's nothing to look at except traffic.
So I'm actually going to be making it. What day? Thursday.
Wait, what is
September?
this again?
Thursday, September 6th.
You're driving from New York to Florida?
Yeah, so long story short, my friend who's in the Army, I'm really good friends with, and we're talking, and they want their car. And I've been complaining about not having taken a vacation this summer because of work. I worked a ton. So my friend paid for my flight back. My hotel room is going to pay for my food and gas to drive their car down to Florida for them. So I'm like, why not? I'll do this. So that's my plan for the 6th of September.
Where in Florida?
You gonna pay for your time?
Pensacola.
Okay.
What's that, Corey?
Is he gonna pay for your time?
I don't like the drive.
Yeah, the time
No.
it's gonna take you to do that.
No, why not? Why does that matter?
Time is money.
I don't care.
Yeah, you're making things happen, Will.
Yeah,
Just charge that.
Will, just bring a ton of podcasts or audiobooks or something.
Well,
You'll have a grand old time.
Well, I was actually, because I was saying to her, I was like, yeah, like I've been looking for a road trip podcast. I can actually probably record Thumbstick Athletes while I'm driving, like a radio.
That'd be awesome.
Like,
that'd be so cool.
So like I could do it if the traffic isn't crazy. So honestly, like I'm really excited. So yeah, and like
you
I
have
said,
to give updates. You have to give updates on the little spots you hit on your way to Florida. Like the backwoods areas of certain places and the weird adventures you get where you found an old mansion and you went in and crazy people are there.
So, Tito, you're from Florida.
Yeah, I grew up in Florida.
What's Pensacola like? Do you know?
I grew up in like the Tampa area, so there's not much going on in Pensacola, and I would say head over to Destin if you can, because Destin's beautiful apparently.
Okay.
And it's not. I don't think it's too far from Pensacola, Destin. But that's a very popular spot that people like to go to. That's kind of like pretty and good beaches and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm excited. Like I said, I haven't seen my friend since she went into basic, so it's gonna be a fun trip. I'm really excited. Get a weekend off. It's funny though. I took the first week of school off from work because I didn't have a school schedule made. So to not kind of screw over work, I took that first week off so they couldn't really depend on my hours. And then I told my manager, I'm like, hey, like I have this trip this weekend. Is it all right if I do it? And he's like, yeah, go for it. So today I worked, and it's my last shift until September 13th, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
September 13th. So I don't have to work until then. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
I drove straight from Jacksonville, Florida, home here through the night. It wasn't too bad.
Now, in your opinion, when's a good time to? Because I don't think there's a good time to leave for a drive to Florida.
Honestly, I would plan it so that you leave so you drive through the night and get there in the morning. That's what I would do.
Okay, so actually, this is what I was thinking. Because she doesn't get out until 4 from class because she works in AIT. I don't know what that is. It's intelligence. I don't know. So I was thinking of leaving at noon Thursday and getting there, I think 6 a.m. is whatever, because it's 18 hours to Pensacola.
Yeah, that's what
So
I would
6
do.
a.m.
Get there,
sleep
I'd find a place to sleep and sleep for a few hours. That's what I would do.
Well, can you check into the hotel or do you have to wait a certain
You have to
time?
wait until it's usually after 3 or 2 when you can check into a hotel.
Gotcha.
But just
Okay.
find a Walmart parking lot and sleep in the car.
Okay.
Although it's probably hot. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do once you get there?
Sleep.
All right.
Oh, you know what, Will? You're lucky because you're going to Pensacola and not like Orlando or something like that. You can take 81 all the way to Knoxville.
That's
Okay.
the wrong way, Corey.
What?
That's the wrong way.
To
Knoxville's Knoxville's in western Tennessee.
I'm looking at the map. He goes right
Oh,
through it.
no. Knoxville's eastern Tennessee. I'm sorry. Memphis is western Tennessee.
Okay.
I think we usually got
Yeah.
on 95 before Johnson City.
Does it go on to I-75 at all?
I don't remember. It's
I
been
don't.
many years.
59. It's 85 to 59 to 65, and then it looks like he's there.
Okay.
Oh, so it's not much of a. It's just straight.
Yeah.
Couple highway changes.
Pretty much, yeah. And you won't have to do so. What
You
sucks
want to
about
avoid
95 is you have
Washington,
to go.
D.C.
Yeah, you have to go through all that.
Because that's
Baltimore
a freaking
and
nightmare.
Okay,
I think you should do a detour stop somewhere cool.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I was told.
Will, how about this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop a pin right now on the map, somewhere along your route.
You have to get out and take
You're
pictures.
gonna have to visit.
You have to get out, take pictures, and then pee in the grass somewhere around that area and prove it. Take pictures and prove it.
Yeah.
All right. I'll let you pick the state, and I kind of want you to pick Alabama.
Do I go through Alabama?
Yeah.
It's out of the
Okay,
way.
Alabama. Well, Reefer's saying Atlanta.
Nah, it'll be too busy.
Dropping
Too much
the
stuff
pin.
happening.
I want to kind of get it on your route a
I
little
kind of want to
bit.
see this.
Chilton County, Alabama.
The backwoods area.
Isn't that out of
Sounds
the
like
way,
a
though?
backwoods area.
Will, you're on your way to Thorsby, Alabama.
Thorsby, Alabama. Okay.
Population of almost 2,000, so like the size of Newark Valley, where you grew up.
So you'll feel right at home.
Yeah.
We got to get something about history.
They're going to chase you out of town if they see your New York license plates, though.
Well, and her car is like a 2017 Corolla or something like that. Like, it's pretty nice. So it's they're gonna be like, what is this person not driving a truck?
Huh.
There's one notable person from Thorsby, and it's Jackie Burkett, former NFL center.
Okay.
See, you know what? Maybe I'll put that location just in my GPS, get there, and then put the Pensacola address from there.
Man, Pensacola is way further out than I thought on the Panhandle. But
Yeah,
you are close to Destin, so I recommend heading up and checking out Destin.
Okay.
I hear it's really pretty there.
Okay. Yeah, so that's my very random adventure I'll be taking.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
cool, though. I'm jealous. I can't really do stuff like that anymore.
Nor can I.
And you know what? I never really have done something like that. I'm actually honestly surprised her parents are letting me do this.
Well, they don't have to do it, so.
Yeah, but all right, Dan. Say one of your kids' friends offers to drive your vehicle 18 hours across the country. Are you okay with it?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely
So,
not.
yeah.
Is it a nice
so-
car?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty nice.
Oh.
So, if I die on the way,
What kind of car did you say it was?
I think it's a 2017 Corolla.
I said a nice car.
It's not like it's nicer than
It's newish.
newish. Yeah.
My Babe Magnet Honda Civic. Yeah.
I'll take a picture of it because I'm actually gonna have it for the weekend. So,
Nice.
but
Cool.
yeah. What else?
Valerie makes a good point. You should listen to S Town on your way to Alabama. That would be kind of cool.
What's S Town?
It's a podcast series about it essentially is about it. I think it's from Serial. Did you ever hear about Serial?
Yes. Yeah.
It's kind of like from the same group of people from like This American Life, but it goes over this guy that's from Alabama who's he's a character, like a real life character, and just kind of it deals with like I can't even remember. I think it was like a murder that took place like in a small Alabama town or something like that.
I think
It's awesome. It's a cool podcast.
I think Eric talked about it a while ago.
Yeah, he listened to it. Yeah, he enjoyed it. It's good. S Town.
S Town. Okay. So I'm gonna write that.
Alabama.
I'll write that down. And then Corey, what was the location again you want me to stop at?
Thorsby.
Thorsby, Alabama.
Thorsby.
All right.
Fill up on gas there. How about that?
Thorsby, Alabama, and S Town.
It's like when I went to Muddy Gap, Wyoming.
I'm probably gonna get there in the middle of the night.
It's all right.
Even better.
Add
Yeah.
the element of danger into your stop.
So you guys say I should avoid DC and Baltimore? Yeah.
Yeah, for
You will
traffic
be,
wise, yeah.
Okay.
You definitely want to do that because DC especially is awful to drive in. Unless you're going
Okay.
through there in the middle of the night, but it's less trafficy, but everyone drives super fast.
How far is it from like hours from here to DC? Because if I leave at noon, I'll be there at
6.
Okay, so I'll be there.
But if I think like Corey said, if you take 81 down, I didn't realize how far west in Florida you were talking about.
Yeah.
Corey's right. You probably do want to go to Knoxville and then south from there.
Okay. Yeah, if that avoids a lot of crazy traffic, I'm all right with that. I don't love highway driving, which is weird because this is going to be all highway driving.
Yeah.
So,
Doesn't have to be.
You could do all back roads if you wanted.
Yeah, man. Back
You
roads.
could-
That's the
There you
adventure.
go.
You can enter that in
That's the
GPS now.
adventure.
Will, make it your goal. No tolls.
yeah, I don't want a single toll. God no.
I remember back, actually, Tito, when I was in LA doing my internship, I had one of those old school GPS, Garmin
Yeah,
GPS units, and at one point I had accidentally turned off, or I had set it to show me only routes without tolls, and I didn't realize it for the longest time until one day, like I was trying to go somewhere that I knew was only like 15 minutes away, but it was telling me it was going to take like 40 or something like that. And I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right. It
Those
just
are
makes
the
me
best
wonder how much
adventures.
lost time.
Nice.
Yeah, so Dan,
Yeah.
I would suggest for that Thursday, we definitely have a guest in case.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. We'll get it taken care of.
Well, I definitely want to try and be on it. So
Yeah, the problem is depending on where you are, you're probably going to be hitting spots where you have little to no phone service.
exactly. So
If you're, in the mountains of Virginia or whatever, you're probably not going to have great service.
West Virginia.
Because I feel like 81 takes you through like really windy. It gets really windy down on your way to Tennessee. It's been a while since I've been that way, but I think it does get really windy and narrow.
I'll tell you what, though, if I could kill 2 hours doing a podcast while doing this, that would be incredible.
Yeah, we will definitely try. So
You could probably play some mobile games too. I don't, just be careful.
I was going to play Dragon Ball Z on my drive.
I was just kidding, but
Yeah, I'm not going to.
please don't.
I would never. I don't want to die in somebody else's car. If it was my personal car, whatever, but...
We almost, when we were buying our car, we almost bought one of those ones that has the augmented reality windshields.
oh, nice.
What?
And I'm wondering, like, how long until we'll be able to watch things on those augmented reality.
As long as the car drives itself, in that case, that would be okay.
Yeah, but I feel like if it was, like, kind of in the corner, I could still drive and watch some Dragon Ball Z or something,
Yeah.
gosh.
Here's the thing. You might be able to. I see too many people, like, just not even looking at the road and driving by on my street at, like, 50 miles an hour in a 30. So
What would you want, like, if you did get in a crash? What do you want people to find that you were watching?
Driving safety videos.
Yes. Yeah.
Emergency maneuvers. I don't know. something like
Definitely
that.
not Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna be honest. Porn.
I feel like that's the only thing you could say that would be like, okay, yeah, he was distracted while he was driving.
Everyone would get it.
Yeah,
Like,
yep.
okay.
Picture the state police officer being like, no, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We see this a lot.
All right, everyone move along. Nothing to see.
Nothing to see.
All right, let's get into what we played.
Dan, I gotta bounce. I'm
You got to
sorry.
peace out. That's fine.
Yeah, but thanks for having me on, Tito.
Yeah.
Good to chat with you.
Sure.
Later, guys.
Later, Corey. All right, Tito, we'll start with you. What do you got going on other than Monster Hunter?
So I'll start with No Man's Sky, just because I've been really enjoying that. I'll probably be not playing it as much now that I kind of got back into the Monster Hunter itch, and then Ni no Kuni
Yeah.
is a big reason why too. But that's been a lot of fun. No Man's Sky. I'm still enjoying hitting up Reddit and seeing what people are posting. I kept my old save. Did you start a new save?
I have my old one still, but I didn't know like what was going on, so I did want to start over so I could kind of have an idea of what I was working on. I had no idea. I didn't know the stuff I had. Like I remembered very little about the game.
I kind of wish I started a new save because I kept my old one because there's like it's still kind of buggy in terms of I can't get the max like exosuit slots because it's an issue with old legacy saves essentially. So I thought I had maxed out all my slots, but it turns out I'm well under and I can't max them out until they fix that issue. So that was kind of a bummer for me, but what I'm trying to focus on now is building a base. I just really wish I had that like mentality, like that creativity to like build something really cool, like that I see on Reddit or whatever. I'm like, all I have right now is like a couple pieces of wood in a rectangle. That's my base.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to start the base building.
Yeah. You gotta build like the base computer. It's one of those like where you can build your save point and your refiner.
Yeah.
It's one of those. Once you build it there, then it gives you the menu option. I think you have to hit up on your D-pad.
Okay.
And then you get all the components. And the way it works is you have to get those blueprint modules that are underground. If you get the blueprint modules, then you build a blueprint analyzer. Is this right? Am I getting this confused?
Sounds right.
Yeah, I think you use the blueprint analyzer to then learn new things you can build for the base.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of stuff that you can make, and that's how you kind of get the different pieces that you can make. And there's a quest line attached to it too, which is really cool. I think the big thing that helped with the game is them adding quest lines for different things. With the freighters and the frigates and stuff. It would be cool. Like I can see in the future, they just make that even more of its own game.
Yeah.
Like really tuning like freighter and frigate battles and stuff like that, and trying to get S-class versions of frigates, where you have an armada.
Yeah,
And
I thought that part was really cool and really well done.
Awesome.
I aspire to because I did the creative mode, so I could just go in and buy all that stuff just so I could experience it briefly before we did it for the episode. But I would like to actually earn that myself.
Yeah, I would. That's why I didn't do creative mode. I kind of wish there was just a medium, like that's like I don't want everything given to me free, but I do kind of want I wish they kind of fine tune because some of the components you need 250 purite or pure ferrite dust or whatever, and that's not a little bit, for just one component of a base, to have that much. So I've been using I don't know if you're aware of it, but the duplication glitch.
Mm-hmm. I read about it.
Are you familiar with this?
Mm-hmm.
So I use that just for my base stuff. I use it for a bunch of other stuff too, to make a lot of money and stuff. And it didn't ruin the gaming experience so much for me. But it helps with I just set the way it works is you have 3 refineries next to each other, and if they're close proximity, whatever you put in the middle shows up in the other 2. And then you just keep pulling from the middle one, and it just keeps showing up.
Okay.
So I leave it there with carbon or ferrite dust or whatever, and then I just start building whatever. And then once I run out, I just go back to the refinery and just load up. Because I don't want everything given to me for free. I still want to work for it. And even the duplication glitch, you need a certain amount. You need at least one of the thing to dupe it.
Right.
So you still have to do some farming.
Have to find it, right.
But then it just kind of makes it so you're not spending hours. Because, it's farming heavy. That game is... You can really spend not waste, but it takes a long time to farm materials in that game, And I enjoy it because you kind of get lost in what you want to do. But I've been doing that with No Man's Sky. I've been enjoying it. It's a cool game. I'm glad they fixed it.
It's a good relaxing game too. Just chilling and gathering resources.
I don't know if it was you guys or it was someone mentioned it's the perfect game to just play with a 6-pack of beer or something. You got the whole day to you.
Yeah.
You're right next to you and just kind of spend the next 8 hours playing.
Yep.
But that leads me into I saw my cousin bought Ni no Kuni on Steam, so he really bought it for me. Let's be honest, because
nice.
I was I don't know what he's been doing, but I just been playing that game a lot, and I enjoyed the first game. I know a lot of people had problems with the battle system in the first one, but I was really hyped up to play the second one. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it because I didn't care too much about the characters. I'm a big character person and story and stuff. And when I first heard about the game, I kind of decided, I'm not in love with the main character or whatever. But I've been playing it. I have 30 some hours, I want to say, and it's great. It's a great game.
Yeah,
it's just really cool. So the art style is beautiful and everything.
Yeah,
I love it.
And
the battle system is a lot better.
Yeah, that's one I have to revisit. Did you take Corey's advice and up the difficulty? Because I know there's difficulty levels. Okay, because that makes it more challenging and interesting.
Yeah, I kept hearing how easy it was. So even hard isn't super hard.
Okay.
So I'm almost at the point and I really appreciate that they did this is increasing the difficulty isn't just so that they have more health and it's harder, but you get better items too, and it increases the rarity of things you get. That's cool. So I might switch to expert mode at some point if it's still kind of this is still pretty easy. But it's cool. The part I'm at right now is I just visited the casino town and kind of finished that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That part, so.
Yep, that was pretty sweet.
Who did you? I wasn't aware you played it.
I got 35, 36 hours into it.
Who do you normally control?
What's that?
The character. Who do you normally choose to control as a character? Who's is there a favorite that you normally like to take battle stuff?
I feel like I just play as the king.
King, okay. Evan, I think it's
Evan.
King.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I forgot his name. Yeah, I feel like I just control him. Maybe I did the guy with the gun a few times too.
Roland. I hate the names.
Yeah.
It's a bit silly.
Roland. It was a problem I had in the first game too. either the names or the character. Like in the first game, there was this guy that was really shady looking, but he was like the third main character, like a little Jew fro thing, and he had a pistol or whatever. I was just like, and he had like a scrappy. I was like, this guy looks like a hobo that's dangerous that this kid shouldn't be dealing with. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate like I mean I like the characters, but the names could use some work. I wish they're more interesting. But I normally control Tanny.
Okay.
I just fell with her immediately. She reminds me of Aloy a little bit.
I can see that.
Yeah. So I usually fight with her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a great game. I just love it.
Yeah.
Cute. Some of the storyline stuff is, childlike, like how simple they solve their problems. Like, yeah, like I keep thinking that there's gonna be like, I don't know if it's like a Japanese and American storyline thing or writing, but like I anticipate like raising the stakes in a situation, but that does not happen in the story. It's just like nicely and neatly figured out, and everyone's happy.
Yeah.
So. But sometimes that's good to have,
Yeah, it's
like,
it's different from what we're used to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's about it. Those are the 3 games: No Man's Sky, Ni no Kuni, and Monster Hunter World.
Okay. What about you, Will? Anything you playing?
Well, honestly, I don't think I played any more Octopath since we last chatted.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been playing anything really. I gotta finish Octopath. I gotta play Hollow Knight and finish that up. The DLC for that just came out, I think, today. I need to play Dead Cells because I forgot to mention this off the top, but Reefer was kind enough to send me a Switch code for it.
Nice.
Which is awesome. So yeah, so now I have that to play, and I definitely plan to get to it. I do want to go play like Frostpunk and BattleTech and Ni no Kuni, God of War. I'm behind.
Yeah.
So I gotta catch up.
Okay. I'm also still playing Octopath Traveler. I'm actually going through and trying to do some of the side missions that I missed out on when I was just mostly doing story stuff or grinding. So I kind of want to tie up a lot of those loose ends before I advance in the story. I'm still partway through the Chapter 3 storylines. I might have done half of them if I had to guess. I haven't played that since probably late last week. Over the weekend, I played Super Mario Brothers on my NES Classic, which was jarring, to say the least. It's just weird to run out of lives in a game and have to start over from the beginning. And I knew that was the case, but it's just been so long since I've played a game like that it was just very weird. But definitely cool. Definitely like playing it with the actual old Square Nintendo controller too, because we have it on our Wii U, but it's just not. It doesn't feel the same playing it on the Wii U as it does playing it on the actual Square NES controller that I have right here.
Ooh,
which is fantastic.
that's awesome.
So yeah, I played that. I downloaded Reigns for my phone because, as I said earlier, they're coming out with the Game of Thrones version. So Reigns, I kind of only had a rough understanding what it was, but it's basically it's a game where you play as a king, and you have 4 different meters you control. It's religion, people, military, and money, and you have to keep those meters in the middle. If it gets too high or too low, your king gets killed. And it's just a game where like a card will pop up with a character on it. It'll be like someone you have in your core or someone asking for something, and you swipe swipe left or swipe right for yes, left for no, however it works.
Tinder.
It's Tinder.
Awesome.
That's exactly right. It's Tinder for
they tricked you
for like a RPG. But it's really interesting because you every year, like the years go by, and your king will die and you'll continue on. So some of the stuff that you did as a king, you will continue on to the next one. Sometimes you just have to start over.
I love stuff like that.
It's really well done, really cool. I would definitely suggest everyone play it because it's very neat. As the dog starts barking and interrupts me. But yeah, it's neat. There's also Reigns Her Majesty, which you play as a queen instead of a king. I don't know how the game differs, but I'll probably get that at some point too.
It's a mobile game?
Yeah, mobile. I think it's on Steam even.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know if I would play it on Steam, but it's definitely a good mobile game. I played it for like an hour today, and I do not play mobile games like at all. So, yeah, that was good stuff.
Have you heard about? I wanted to ask about because I just learned about this. Valve's own version of a card game.
Yeah, I just know a few details about it. I know it wasn't people didn't love that at first, but I think people are starting to come around to it. I know nothing about it.
I finally saw I did not know about this at all, but apparently it's been. I mean, it's not out, it's not released yet,
Right.
but they've been working on it the past year, where some lucky individuals have been able to play it, and they finally showed some gameplay of it. It looks actually kind of interesting. I might look into it when they finally release it.
Okay.
I don't even know what it's called. Let me look it up. Just well interested.
Yeah.
But Will, are you aware of this?
I am not actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised by this news, but they had videos this past week of some people showcasing it. Animation looks cool, the graphics and all that, but it's like their own Hearthstone essentially.
Artifact?
Geekbear Shrew says Artifact.
Artifact?
Yeah,
that sounds
yeah,
right.
because I think they announced that. They announced that, yeah, Valve is going to start making games again, and then they announced this game, and people were like, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah.
You know, and they're expecting a new Portal or a new Half-Life or something like that. And
I still think the only time we're gonna get a Half-Life game is when there's a new like tech.
yeah,
That because when Half-Life 2 came out, that was the first game that had like a physics system in it. Like I remember, because before then, anything that was like on a counter or whatever was like part of the world.
yep,
And I remember like the tech demo showcasing with Half-Life 2 of like everyone's mind was blown when like you can shoot something off, you can grab anything. If it looked like you can pick it up, you can pick it up. The paint buckets. So, and I feel like that's what they want to do with Half-Life 3 is like they have something new to introduce, and that's the only time there's going to be a Half-Life 3 coming out. And you would think that would be VR, but I don't think VR is there yet for them to like wow people with, and maybe they're still waiting on something else.
yeah. I hope you're right.
That's my theory. Is that's what they've been waiting for, is something to wow everyone with.
Mm-hmm.
Will
And
we
they'll
get a
take this
new
one
Left 4
aside,
Dead
too.
though?
Yeah, that's true. Nah, I don't know.
Maybe Valve just is going to stop at 2. You know, they don't know the number 3.
That'd be
At
cool
this
if that
point-
was their thing.
Yeah, like at this point though, yeah, it's been so long. Like, maybe they just didn't know how they wanted to end it too, and they're like, you know what? Oh well.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the story a lot.
Reefer in the chat says Cyberpunk is officially playable start to finish.
Wow.
That's exciting news.
Interesting.
I'm still having a hard time just because I want to play it so much. You know.
It
All right.
still feels so far away. By the way,
yeah,
that
it
game.
does. I'm trying not to get excited for it because that just ends up being a problem.
Yep.
All right, feedback. So we got a couple. All right, so this is from Tate, who says, "Hey guys, so first off, I want to say that my gaming funk is back with a vengeance, and I hate my life because of that. Mostly it is because I am so damn busy with work and other things that I don't have time to sit down and enjoy anything for any good amount of time. It sucks. I hate adulting. Monster Hunter, do you guys know if it will be cross-platform between PC and Xbox? If so, whenever any of you really want to get into it, I would be more than happy to play with you guys and help you all make sense of things quickly. It's a freaking awesome game and is so fun to play with friends. When you get a group of 4 friends hunting together and you each have different weapons and ways of helping each other is a blast. Then planning and equipping for different monsters together is also a blast. I encourage you all to find time and really dive into it. Give it the time because I promise you won't be disappointed. I prefer to use the bow or a greatsword. When I'm needed to damage, I go with the greatsword, but there will be many times when all 4 of us will be using bows because you need to steer clear of whatever monster we are fighting. The hammer is also really fun to use. The game I would like from last week is the Banner Saga. Thanks, guys. Have a great week." He also added an addendum onto that. He says, "Sorry, guys, I forgot a couple things I wanted to comment on. Don't count this as a separate feedback, but a continuation. First, I wanted to weigh in on Will's recent love of working out in just as long Under Armour leggings without shorts. I'm not sure if they really are Under Armour or that's just what I use, but it's neither here nor there. Will, don't let people make fun of you just for wearing those. I have 2 friends I played with in college that are now in the NFL that would do team conditioning 40 times in just their leggings. Not saying I would ever do it, but I see no problem with it if you were working out. Now, if you were just wear that as your normal garb, then you are asking for it. That's my take on the leggings. Personally, I wear shorts over leggings when I work out. Anyways, enough about that. The second thing I wanted to say, I'm getting really excited about Life is Strange 2. I really want to get No Man's Sky on my Xbox, but not until it's on sale for $30 or less. It drives me nuts that it's $50 on Xbox. There's my piece. Taterade out. Thanks, Tate. Monster Hunter crossplay. I don't believe there's crossplay for Monster Hunter. Right?
I don't think so either. No.
Yeah, I have not heard of it being a thing. I would like for it to be a thing. That would be great because I know Will has it on Xbox.
I do.
Right, Will and Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Despite Eric didn't play it at all either, did he? I think you guys bought it because you could split it, right?
I want to say he might have played a little bit, but
I don't know if he ever did.
But he might not have.
I don't think he's ever talked about it.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
So yeah, we bought a game and never played it.
You've probably bought a few games and never played them, right?
Story of my life, yeah.
In terms of playing with multiple people, it is pretty fun. I can't say though that it's a game where there's like a lot of teamwork going on. There probably is that potential, but it's not like something where there's not like link up play.
Yeah.
You know, but more so that like a good example though is like you being a hunting horn and everyone kind of specking themselves out, knowing that you have these certain skills. I'm sure there is some cool stuff you can do with like, because I had a friend who was like interested in like playing with me and my friend, but when I kind of told them so far from my experience that it's not something that like there's not like teamwork, like pure teamwork from skills like linking up and stuff. Like maybe there is, I just don't know, but
like multi-character combos and stuff.
Yeah, there's not so much that stuff, but I mean there's ways to take advantage of what, you know, like I'm sure there's that stuff in. I just want to make sure that that's something I notice about you know, the having 3 or 4 players. There's not like a cool kind of like, oh, you can link up with his combo finishing move, and that, you know, there's not so much that. Okay. But there are ways to take advantage of, you know, certain things that some players can do.
Yeah.
But I do recommend, Dan, definitely joining some people's parties with your hunting horn and just everyone falling in love with you. Just, I do enjoy that.
I'll never mind that. That sounds fantastic. Will, you got some confirmation on your leggings?
Yeah, when I said
leggings.
that I go places wearing leggings, it wasn't that I consciously put them on to go places. I just finished at the gym. I need to pick up something.
Yeah, if you have to run into the store real quick.
Yeah, I'm not going to go through the effort to change my whole attire just to please people.
You're not going to go to the mall to try to pick up chicks in your leggings.
Yeah, I'm not doing this as a you know what? It's my 2018 statement is my leggings, and that's final.
Okay.
It's my brave statement.
I like it.
Oh, by the way, have you heard?
Own it, Will. Just own it.
Mm-hmm. Have any of you heard about male rompers?
What is that?
Yes.
Wait, what is that?
Only because I think Twitch makes a male romper. That's like, it looks like boxers on the bottom, and it's attached to a Twitch shirt.
Is this work appropriate? I'm still at work. Can I search for this?
Yeah. It's just it's like it's a onesie with short sleeves and a t-shirt.
Male romper. Oh my god.
I was told I could pull it off, and I wasn't sure how to take it.
These actually kind of look cool. I'm not gonna lie. Is that weird for me to say?
No.
Yeah, this is dope. You should wear this when you go to Florida. I'm looking at one with like flamingos. I'm like, yeah, you should show up with this.
That's a Twitch romper.
I might get punched if I did that, but I'll think about it. Oh, there's one of pizza.
I would probably wear the Twitch romper. It looks like you're wearing golf shorts with the Twitch logo on it, and then it's like it's not a collared shirt, but
Reefer has confirmed that I could pull off the male romper.
There you go.
All right, so maybe that'll be my next statement.
Yeah, I mean,
I think you should do it.
Like I said, this just looks like golf shorts and a button-up shirt. it doesn't.
You have to
it
be
doesn't look
careful
that
though,
weird.
because summer is almost over, and these seem very summery.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably get snow within the next month or so.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
Maybe that's my summer 2019 goal, male rompers.
yeah, maybe.
Nah,
Maybe
they'll be old by then. It's a fad.
you're probably right. Although, I wonder if the Thumbstick athletes could make some personal branded male rompers and
Subscribers,
leggings.
Twitch subscribers.
Probably. We probably could. Anyway, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was Tate. Thanks for that, Tate. I'm going to leave this up for right now. Just because I got to read feedback. Okay. Next is from DT Strike. Says, hey guys, DT here. Longtime listener, first time writing in. I just want to say I love the podcast. Because you guys, I got Octopath Traveler. I've been enjoying that game a lot. Only about 15 hours in. I really like what they have done with the game and that it has its own unique feel to it. That being said, I love JRPGs, but it's this unique factor that drove me to this game, and I can honestly say that the most Final Fantasies bore me after about halfway through the game, but there's only been 2 JRPGs in my lineup for ages that have this factor. I want to know if you guys ever heard of them. The first one being Legends of Dragoon for PS1, and the second being Grandia Extreme for PS2. Anyways, have a great one, guys. DT out. I played Legends of Dragoon on PS1. I believe I ended up beating it, but I definitely did play it. I don't remember. Thank you. I don't remember that much about it. It was I was in probably, I don't know, 8th, 9th grade when that came out, if I had to guess. And then Grandia Extreme I've heard of. I have not ever played that.
Isn't Grandia being remastered or re-released or something?
I don't know, but they did just announce that the Langrisser games are being remastered and re-released, which is kind of an obscure tactical JRPG game. So that was interesting.
I haven't heard of those.
Yeah,
I feel like I've heard of Grandia.
Yeah,
series.
Grandia Extreme. Legends of Dragoon, I think there was 2 of those too, maybe. You know, I'll bring up gameplay.
Did he say that this was his first time writing in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Cool.
talked to us a few weeks ago, I think, in the chat.
Okay, awesome.
So new feedbacker.
Where's he from?
Doesn't say where DT Strike's from. Let us know where you're from, DT Strike. I usually like to know that. Let's see. Legend of
Good to hear from you. Awesome.
of Dragoon.
Legend of Dragoon. That's like an old classic, isn't it?
Yeah, I got the long play here. After the ad, of course. But yeah, Octopath is great. It's definitely one of my favorite games of the year.
I found it.
both.
Grandia 1 and 2 HD remasters are going to the Switch and
Oh.
PC.
Okay,
So there's that to look forward to.
nice. All right. Next is from Idaho Jake. Says, "Hey guys, I am trying to get to my backlog of games, so I'm starting Dragon Age Inquisition. I was thinking that for 4 in February, you should pick 2 fans to join. If you guys win the 4 in February, fans have to donate $10 to the podcast. But if the fans win, they get to pick a game from the game giveaway. Sorry, no this day in gaming history, but I ran out of time. Thanks, guys, and have a great day." I'm down for fans joining in on 4 in February. I just went over a few days ago. I went over the list of the 4 in February, and I had beaten 3 of the games. Corey beat 1 game, and that was it. That was the only beaten games for 4 in
That
February.
was the only participant.
And I crossed Corey out because that was when he retired from the podcast. So
Oh yeah.
he was a casualty of 4 in February. So, yeah,
Yeah.
but no, I plan on doing it again. Because I also have an unbelievably huge backlog, and I've played some of my favorite games from 4 in February. Saints Row the Third being one of them, which I absolutely loved. Hellblade, which I absolutely loved too, was one of my 4 in February games, and I probably wouldn't have played it otherwise, you know. So, yeah, definitely if people want to join,
I like that idea.
That would be great.
Please do. We need people to actually beat games in February.
Yeah, there doesn't even have to necessarily be an incentive if just people want to join, that'd be great. So that's feedback. Let's get to our game giveaway, shall we?
So 3 people?
3, yes.
All right.
Tate is 1, DT Strike is 2, Jake is 3.
Winner. First time writing in. DT Strike.
DT Strike.
Awesome.
Nice. All right,
Congrats.
That's just what happens when you write in.
Let's find the 5 shittiest games I can think of.
Oh boy!
Actually,
I wish you were wrong.
Green Man, I think it's Green Man Gaming has a charity thing that they're doing this week, and you get 50 games. I thought about doing that because there's a few games on there that I want, but the rest would be good game giveaway games.
Yeah, sounds good.
Like Metal Gear
50
Solid
games?
50, yeah, and there's some good ones on there. Like Metal Gear Solid 5 is on there, which if I didn't own, I would,
Oh yeah.
I would add it to my
Hell yeah.
library.
Yeah, I was pretty stoked when they offered that for a free PlayStation game a couple months ago.
It's a good one. That game's great. One I want to revisit. Okay.
Reefer says, "I hope he gets 2 soundtracks."
2 sounds. They're on there.
I love music.
Right. Okay. First game.
Number 15.
15 is Men of War Assault Squad, Game of the Year. I'm sure that never won any Game of the Year awards, but hey. Next up.
65.
65 is Thoth, Thoth. Not a good start so far.
Thoth. 86.
86. 86 is Super Time Force Ultra. That's a good one.
Okay.
Super Time Force. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. That's
I just got that. I can't believe. Oh my god.
Oh,
I feel stupid. feel very stupid now.
I just got it too. I never even I've known about that game for a while, and I never. Go ahead, Will.
145.
145 is Bastion.
Ooh,
That's a good one.
Nice.
And 117.
117 is Bit Trip Runner. It's also a well-known one. Okay, so your options are Men of War Assault Squad Game of the Year edition. 65 is Thoth. 86 is
How do you spell that?
Thoth. Yeah, I got to bring that up in the chat. 86 is Super Time Force Ultra. Bastion or Bit Trip Runner are your choices for games. I think next week's episode. What's today? Next week's episode will probably be our fall games preview, right?
Oh my god! Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, game I know. Dogs barking.
Thoth that has a 9 out of 10 on Steam.
Wow.
An abstract shoot 'em up video game created by Jeppe Carlson.
Okay.
Jeppe Carlson, former lead gameplay designer of Play Dead Games, Limbo, and Inside.
Okay, I got a video up here. It looks like a twin stick shooter almost.
Published by Double Fine Productions.
Oh.
Tim Schafer.
Wow. Okay.
And people really like it, so.
I think we all know which ones he's picking.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, guys, before we call it an episode?
Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
I wish I had thought, because I knew you had played a lot of Monster Hunter. I wish I had thought when we decided to do this episode, like, hey, we should have Tito on. But it didn't. It's a lack of foresight and a lack of organization that I didn't ask you sooner. So
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Um,
It's always a pleasure.
yeah, glad to have you on. Reefer might be on for next week. Fall games preview. He wants to come on, so we'll probably do that, right? Right, Will?
Yeah, definitely.
And that'll do it for episode 370 of the Thumbstick Athletes podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
Will.
Tito.
Thanks for listening, and get out of my basement.